everybody! Hello, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast pre-show. It's me and Big D. Hey, Big D.
Hey, dude.
Are you ready to pre-show the show for the Moon Poop 2 this week?
Oh, I suppose we probably should do, shouldn't we?
We could do. I mean,
Let's
what
ramble.
are you been up to? What was that? Oh my god, that's me, right?
I forgot to mute the TV in the background.
No, that's too much me. No.
Twice the Andy, isn't
Yeah,
that the truth, folks?
no, it's not. Before we get into podcast recording, you done anything like Warhammer-y fun? Have you done any spray painting?
Not yet.
Okay, I'll keep bullying you until you do it.
Mainly because it's been as hot as Hades around here, but I finished building my Space Wolf army box.
Okay.
And then built another pack. Then I kit bashed another pack of Grey Hunters out of the leftover bits.
Hang on, isn't it better to do it when it's hot? Spray painting, I mean.
There's levels of hot. This sort of heat, you're liable to have the paint just kind of dry in the air as it's trying to get on. it can be funny sometimes with priming stuff, but this is kind of too hot, you know?
Okay. I was able to get my my 3 Ushapti all primed and started. That's why I wondered if you got yourself anything.
I just get a bit twitchy about when it gets this hot.
So. Well, it's probably hotter where you are than when where I was as well. Because I sprayed them. Was it yesterday? Maybe it was. Yeah, it was probably yesterday. I sprayed them. I think I sprayed them up yesterday.
Oh, brave.
Why?
Down here yesterday was worse than today.
Oh no! Like I say, like here it's like 14 degrees here today. It was like Friday, which was our bad day. Friday was our like 26 degrees.
We've not been below the high 20s all week.
Well, that's what you get for being a southerner.
Yeah.
That's what you get for being closer to the disgusting Europeans.
It's also what you get for being very big and hairy.
I can't comment on that. Do you want
to? My beard has not been fun.
No, yeah, I got a haircut as well, so it made life a little less horrific. You know, I thought it was a good idea to trim the hair. Shall we start pooping? Do you want to talk about the movie stuff?
We probably should do Let's.
Okay. I'm going to hit the music button, and then we're going to get some pooping done, okay? Cool. Let's go music time.
Welcome to Moonbase 2.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Moonbase 2 podcast. My name is Andy, Decayed Andy. There is no news this week, for it is the year 2007, nearly 20 years ago, and the first live-action movie comes out and brings about a new toy line, which will, well, in conjunction with the movie, help rocket Transformers to a whole new level. So, the question is, did this toy line rocket up the quality of Transformers of the time period, or was it next year that had the good toys? We're here with Big D to talk about it. Hey, Big D.
Yeah. Hey, dude. How you doing?
Hey, not bad. How about you? You doing goo?
Well, as we were talking about in the pre-show, due to the fact I live in the southern part of the country, I am rapidly turning into a puddle of sweat in my room here.
Oh, no. That's the way. That's the southern way.
It's not fun if you're a large man with lots of hair.
It's always funny when like Americans laugh at us and say, "Oh well, it's not that bad." It's like you also we don't have aircon, and people forget sometimes that bricks contain heat. They store heat quite well.
Houses are built to retain it because traditionally this has been an island that can get a tad nippy at times.
Yep, it still does, and it still gets hot like it used to as well. It's always been a warm country. Well, relatively warm.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's hard to explain to some folks because the British Isles is really weird. It always has been because of where we are on the Gulf Stream as well. That brings in. I'll bore everyone on this for hours because I'm trained as an archaeologist, and it's kind of fascinating to me. But there's a reason we've been invaded so many times.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah, we got our shit pushed in a lot, and then we decided no more, and we pushed the world's shit in.
Well, no. Yes, but we also people still want to come here because it's still the green and pleasant land. It's an enticing place to come to.
Well, I mean, the reason people want to come here as well is because we used to be a great power, and we have, relative to other countries, a lot of money.
And honestly, in a lot of cases, also because we have a reason their countries might be a tad fucked up today. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it depends.
Not all, but there's a lot of folks in this country who are here because, well, we went to their country and we took their nice shit, and their families came over here eventually.
We also built a lot of infrastructure as well, and arguably made some other countries better. One could argue.
It's all relative.
How are those Indian trains? India hasn't built any more trains because I don't think they know how to. And their train system's fucked. And we put that there. It was a decent train system too, as far as I'm aware.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure we can comment given the state of our train system.
Our current trains, certainly. Yeah.
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 You know?
But I think that's mismanagement from the government, not through lack of knowledge on how to. They just didn't. They decided not to, and they've decided not to for many years. Because didn't they? Wasn't the trains here? They were. It was a government thing, and then they privatized them, right? They sold them off to foreign companies.
Well, yeah.
That doesn't help.
There was two stages. You had the period where all the small lines got closed down because someone from the government went through and worked out. They decided things had to be profitable, which is you don't run a public service that way. And then, of course, in the 80s, well, you had the beginning of the big infrastructure sell-off, which that's not bit us in the ass, has it?
No, that ruined us massively. Sell off everything that we did.
Yeah. Whereas in fairness, with the Indian example, they've actually maintained everything. Mm-hmm. So the trains actually do work.
They just need more of them. They need a lot more.
But they've kept them running, that's kind of a bit more than we can say for some of our systems.
But they do need a lot more, as you see people hanging off of trains and sitting on the train roofs.
They do.
You need a lot more for that country.
But it's also a much bigger country.
Certainly, yeah. Yeah, no doubt, but they need more. That's why I say they need a lot more.
Yeah.
But the movies, the toys of the movies, Big D. How many of these did you have? Did you have a lot of the 07 movie line? Because I went in pretty hard for when they first came in. I got mine through eBay, through an eBay seller, and I guess they came from China because they came in no boxes and all came in little bags. And I pretty much got the entire first wave because I was like, I want them now, kind of deal.
Well, I remember I bought Bumblebee in his concept Camaro guys.
Oh yes,
because I wanted that at least as a taster for the line to see how.
That was a hard figure to get a hold of, right? The concept one, not the first one.
B was a weird one because you had the 2-pack that had the 70s Camaro and the concept Camaro in, but then the concept Camaro was one that had the general release as well.
Yeah,
and so I picked up the individual release, and then down the line, I eventually got the 70s Camaro, which I kind of regret because I didn't realize how spring-loaded the damn thing was. And
that's the one I got first.
With my massive digits, I accidentally pressed them the wrong way and just went.
Oh no!
And yeah. But weirdly, I didn't have a massive amount from this line. I had a lot of the tertiary figures I did. Quite a few of ones we're going to see here today. Characters who showed up in video games and the comics.
Yes, because we
Or
had that.
concept
Who did
characters.
the game? Was it Activision that did the movie tie-in game? I think it was.
Activision had the rights to Transformers for most of the late aughts through to, well, the late tens, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was Activision did the game. I can't remember what studio did it. I remember it was odd. Very odd.
What, the game?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was an odd game. I'd say it was a really basic game. I enjoyed it at the time, but it was really small, contained, sandboxy areas that you could do a little bit in, but not a huge amount. But it did add to a load of like extra playable characters. Well, not playable characters, sorry,
Absolutely.
drones and stuff like that, which they then used for the toy line and stuff. But the game was very, very media. I would not describe it as weird. I'd describe it as just a very basic, mediocre game. But shockingly, not awful.
No, I mean, as film tie-ins go, there have been a lot worse.
Oh yeah, loads,
and a lot worse from this franchise, to be fair.
Yeah,
it wasn't a bad game. No, the biggest knock against it is it followed on from the Armada game, which had set people's expectations a bit higher for where things could go. And honestly, that was from that period of the PS2, like that third gen of PS2 game development along with MGS3, where developers had really bedded into the tech.
Yeah.
Were starting to mess around with some. You had a lot of that light bloom, lens flare effect, and those big arenas, which you couldn't have done in the earlier PS2 era because the devs just hadn't got their head around it yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Transformers tie-in game, it felt like a bit of a come down afterwards because it just didn't have that same level of depth to it.
In terms of what
folks expected, just in terms of the size of the arenas you were fighting in. I mean, it was nice that it was reasonably open arenas, but they still felt quite claustrophobic, even though they were open world for the most part, if that makes any sense. But it was fun, though, that you had a lot of these drones who were actually made into toys and given personalities in like the comics and stuff. So
I would say for the game, I would be interested to know what the game development time was versus the original PlayStation 2 game. I have a feeling it was a much shorter dev time because it's a game movie tie-in game. I would say that the movie game had better controls than the PS2 game by a lot because the controls for the PS2 game are rough. They're very rough. Jumping is not good in it. Driving's not great in it. You're big and weighty, but that doesn't mean traversal's desperately good. But it did have the extra idea of like not Metroidvania-y, however you want to say that, with it where you go back and you can get the extra mini console. It had more of a replayability, while the movie game was just like you find this little collectible. It's like whatever. But for a tie-in, it was fine. It was fine. Did you have... We'll start off with the toys. Did you have Landmine here? Because Landmine was not one that I got myself.
Oh, yes.
Okay, what can you tell us about Landmine?
So Landmine, he's a lanky boy and he's great fun. No, I've always had a soft spot for Landmine just because I dug some of the vibe of the Nest vehicles, and the fact that he was based on the Nest buggies was quite fun. Kind of scratched the G.I. Joe itch for me. But robot mode is actually surprisingly, given he's fairly lanky, he's quite stable, I found. He's got a really nice, the way his hands are formed, freshly formed from his seats of his alt mode.
Oh, that's why they look kind of weird.
Is novel. Yeah, but it means that he can actually, there's a post in the handle of his gun, which plugs into the palm of his hand. Which is kind of fun. That's a neat touch. So it gives him a bit of extra dynamic features there. The joints were quite nice. He poses like a champ, actually, in fairness. If you look at his arm arrangement, it looks weird and ungainly. In hand, it's actually a lot more forgiving than it looks like. And you can get a lot of decent poses out of it. The alt mode is quite nice. It's quite a nice tight alt mode. It's actually got suspension on each of the four wheels.
Oh, that's fun. That's good.
Spring-loaded suspension, which was quite a nice surprise. Not expected, but nice. And his gun is, well, it's the automatic grenade launcher of the alt mode, which I just think is brilliant.
Yeah, it's a solid-looking gun.
And it actually you can actually plug it over his shoulder instead of in hand if you want.
Okay,
which is quite nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I got him, and later on for Revenge, I picked up Brawn and the Outback repaint, and they form a nice little. He and Brawn especially, they kind of pair together quite nicely.
Right.
For their vibe, if nothing else.
I will say, in terms of like movie head designs, I think he's got one of the better ones. It looks more cohesive than a lot of the movie design ones. I think an issue I have with it is the color scheme is very dull. It's
oh yes, yeah.
It's wolf gray again from the army painter. That's what it is. That's the kind of color.
Yeah.
And that's the only color he's really got going from, apart from gray plastic and black, and that's it. He's very much a
he's got some light blue because he was in the I think the Energon assortment.
Allspark. It was something Allspark.
That was it, Allspark that they were doing around this time. One thing I only noticed looking at for repaint is I hadn't realised that he's actually got each eye socket has 2 pupils in.
Yeah.
But on this one, they're not painted; they're just black, so you can't tell.
You can, if you look at the kind of tight image of his face, you can kind of tell there's something in there, but it's not desperately easy.
But it's not obvious.
It's much easier on the repaints.
Oh yeah, a lot easier. The drabness of the deco is just the nature of them adapting an on-screen vehicle, unfortunately.
Yeah, they chose to make them realistic, quote unquote, and thus they made them a little bit on the dull side. But it looks okay. I think the hands are a bit on the weird, wonky side. But again, in terms of like 07 movie stuff, he's not that egregious, I would say.
No, and in fairness, some of that is how they've posed his hands from the pictures. In person, they feel a lot better. You can make them look a lot better than they have done.
I'm like looking at the repaints of him, and I don't believe you. They still look a little bit on the weird side because they are just big clamps, right? And that's just how they work. They still look strange. You can make them work a little bit better, but not massively. I do think the Revenge of the Fallen Ironhide, although still has a reasonably boring alt mode because it's just mainly black. The robot mode's a little better just because they add that dark army green to places on it, and they actually picked out his eyeballs like you mentioned with the red, which is always nice, and he's got a little bit of orange.
Those do work quite nicely, and the detailing being in white as well, rather than black, helps that pop quite nicely. Yeah, that is a nice repaint.
It's still not exciting, I don't think, but it's better. It's you look at the two and go, I think I'd prefer this one. It feels like there's more effort put into the armor hide than the other one.
I'd say so. I mean, if I'd seen armor hide, I'd probably have grabbed him because he does look a bit nicer, in fairness.
And then there is Cometor. Yeah, Cometor. COME, new word, TTOR, Cometor.
Yeah.
Yours is probably the correct way to read it, but I think Cometor works.
Yours is funnier.
It is. Sperm. It's great. Now, a bit of a step down here is Cometor doesn't have his eyes picked out like the Revenge of the Fallen one does. So it is kind of a step backwards, I think. I think the color scheme's nice on him, but is it the photo Big D, or is it my eyes? But in vehicle mode, does he look just a tad, like the little tiniest bit pink? Like it's a white, but like a tint.
They've tried to give him like a pearlescent effect because he's supposed to be a moon rover. This version, that's what they're going for.
But there's a giant hole in the side of him.
Have you ever seen a moon rover? Most of those didn't have. Most moon rovers are open topped. No, just outside most moon rovers that have actually been used have just been like a wheel and a frame. And
it's just weird to have like a front window screen and a roof and then a big hole in the side, and it's meant to be a moon rover. You know, it's like.
Yeah, they were stretching it a little bit. I think they were just trying to find whatever mold.
Fucking repaint. Who cares? Pump them out. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong though. The pearlescent does have a slightly pinkish hue to it, which pearlescent can tend to. I do like that bronzy orange they've used though for frame.
Yeah, and
with the silver and the black, that does work quite nicely. And a bit of gold as a spot color here and there.
White and toffee brown usually works quite well together. I do think it helps make him pop a bit more. I think it's vehicle mode as well, even though it is a weird touch on the pink side for no real good reason. I think the added color again makes him a little bit more interesting to look at. So I think this might be my preferred version of the figure. Though I still don't think he looks outstanding. I don't think he looks amazing, but I think he looks a tad more visually interesting and poppy than the other two, who just feel like very basic repaints.
And you know what? Perfectly understandable.
Do you have a favorite?
Completely. I've got a soft spot for the first one, just because it's the one I actually have.
Ah, fair play. Okay.
If I had either of the other two, I'd have been quite happy to have either of them as well, to be honest, because it's fun as well. Because there's stuff like you can see on Commodore, they've got his gun behind his shoulder. But one nice thing is that with his feet, those are the engine shafts, but they actually kind of
the exhausts
hook across each other.
Are they exhausts or are they? No, they look like propane tanks.
I think they're actually engine cylinders.
Are they?
He's got one of those exposed engine bays.
Oh no! To me, it looks like a big cylinder of like propane, you know. And if you looked on the inside of the inner circle, there'd be the little knob where you could turn the gas on and off.
But in the alt mode, they both kind of sit. They flip it. They swivel across, so on the other side from where they are in the feet.
Yeah,
it's a weird little thing, but I've always liked it. It's just a neat little bit of design they did. No reason for it. It's just cute.
So you would say he's an okay kind of mid-range, kind of deluxe-y kind of guy.
I'd say so. Yeah. Right. I mean, he's an original non-movie character.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I think he might be one of the better ones.
Ooh,
if not one of the better movie era figures.
Okay.
Overall,
fair enough. I can't comment obviously because I've never had it, but I'll gotta say okay. All right. Next up we have RC, who's not one of the best figures. I can happily say that. I did have RC, and there are bits on her which are okay, but then there's a lot of movie nonsense. Obviously, the biggest movie nonsense on her are her arms are terrible, as she has. Her main front wheel splits in half and then kind of lies over the front part of her shoulders. I don't know what it was meant to be, but it looks cumbersome and it doesn't really make the arms work.
I'm sure on mine the wheels don't sit like that. I'm sure.
I think you have an option to not make them sit like that, but they have to sit somewhere because they're connected to the shoulders.
Yeah, I think if you put them on so they're kind of orientated on the back, it looks a lot better. They're not in
yeah,
it is still a big. She's a bike former. She was the most articulated bike former I'd ever had up to this point. So
she's also got those weird knee design where it's a hinge that goes into a, I don't know, what do you call it? A panel, a separate joint, and then that joint goes into the shin. So it's this weird flat knee joint.
Never fun.
No, and they look weird. It's obviously for the transformation, so her like shins can tuck up to her thighs for the bike mode. Yeah. Also, a very ugly head design. I never quite got a lot of the movie face designs have that kind of weird bitty party look, but then she has this like cowlick hairstyle. It's always seemed to me. Not quite sure what they were going for with the hair design, quote unquote.
I think that's the intent.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, at least she has feet, unlike the Revenge of the Fallen version.
Mm.
So give her that, and that crossbow on her arm is actually kind of fun. I always enjoyed that as a weapon. That was.
It's separate, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay, good. I couldn't remember who it was. It's a bit of a workaround because it is just like the arse of the bike, but the fact that you put in the missile and then the little quiver bit kind of unfolds, that's nice. It's not crazy.
Yeah.
Thankfully, unlike Energon RC, it's not just like bolted onto her arm and you can't really do much about it. And I will say I like the color placement on the character.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's nice. It's just elements that obviously her weird robot perverted salad finger hands I'm not a big fan of either.
Yeah, sadly, that was a bit of a thing for this line where they didn't really go into hands.
No, oddly enough, they did. We talked about this last time with Beast Machines. A lot of the movie figures have weird Beast Machines hands as well.
Yeah.
Well, they don't hold things; they're just like long and creepy looking.
Yeah, they tried to go for integrated weapons wherever they could on a lot of characters. Landmine's kind of the exception to that in a large part, but he has a gun he can hold. Most of the figures in this line, the weapons plug-ins, they're either meant to look like they're formed from the arm, or they plug in on the outside somewhere.
Yeah.
So the hands are just kind of. They've not been used as an excuse to get more expression out. They've just kind of been lazy with what they do with the hands for a lot of them.
Yeah, because the hands don't they don't do anything. They're not like pointing or angry hands or slapping hands. It's just like relaxed fingers hands, I suppose. It's weird. I do like the bike mode for RC though. I think that's turned out pretty well. That's a good bike.
Yeah, lovely bike mode. In fact, I've seen more than one person use a G.I. Joe Duke figure to recreate a scene at the end when what's his face takes out Brawl or Blackout on riding the motorbike.
Okay, Josh Duhamel. Okay, yeah, sorry. In my mind, I thought you said Brawl, and then my mind only locked in on Brawl, and I was like, what happened? And I was like, wait, no, Jazz did that. And my brain just refused to listen to you correcting yourself for some reason. So, you're right, yes.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen Josh Duhamel do this with RC, though, with a bright hot pink bike versus like a standard motorbike. That would have been more interesting. But RC kept getting used as a toy line figure, but then only appeared in like. She was briefly in Revenge of the Fallen for like 5 seconds at the start.
They made her one of the. They had her as the triplets.
Yeah, who could combine together for some reason. Yeah,
but they killed. I can't remember. Did they kill them off or?
Oh, I don't care.
I can't. Yeah.
They also made them. I think they made the designs worse because they stripped their legs away in that movie. They only had like wheel legs.
That was such a weird choice as well because toys, even the Studio Series ones they did a few years ago, still you had to have them on bases to stand.
Again, they decided to go for Beast Machine style for Thrust. They went, oh yeah, Thrust's a bike. He's got no legs. There's no issues here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, if you say so. So, did this RC get reused? Apparently it did, but we've got no links to them. So, apparently there was a Battle Damaged movie RC, a Black movie RC, and also a Wonder Festival RC G1 Colors. I kind of want to have a quick look for that.
I think I've seen that G1 Color RC, and it's odd.
I imagine it doesn't look amazing. Transformers movie RC G1 colors. Let's see if Google can help us out here.
Oh, here we go.
Oh yeah. Ooh, that's
Ooh,
that doesn't look quite right.
That's
a choice. Yeah, that's a choice. The bike mode's okay-ish. Oh, I forgot her hands were just completely visible in bike mode.
Yeah.
I don't like her face in that human pink. I didn't actually realize she had boobs. I didn't notice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah. It looks like that is how you do the wheels as well. You put them over the front of her shoulders, seemingly.
I found a group shot of all of the repaints. Hang on, I'll post it in the.
Oh, I've got it. It's the first one, isn't it? Yeah, I see it. Yeah, she is.
Exceeds the size limit. God damn you, Discord.
Yeah, Discord's really fucking annoying when it does that shit. It's like, it's a photo, you dick. Who cares? Yeah, here's the image. I forgot they did the blue RC. Or at least, did I forget? The black RC's, she's fine.
Yeah.
She's okay. A bit boring.
I mean, one thing about one of the pictures I've seen of the G1 color and the movie color RC together is that robot mode actually is quite stable to stand up.
Big feet.
Yeah. It does pose quite nicely, I remember.
I just don't remember having. Yeah, the wheels over the shoulders is a bad design. It doesn't look good. It looks awkward, and I'm sure it must mildly affect the elbow articulation. Surely,
it did a bit, but
you can obviously move it. But it's one of those things that's just it's a thing you have to interact with, which maybe they should have designed around, because it's not desperately fun to kind of finagle this stuff around.
Yeah. But still, it's a nice bike, and it's cute that the missile can perform an exhaust pipe. So
yeah. So the RC figure, Next up, we got a figure that's much worse than RC. It's Jazz. I hated Jazz. I remember playing with this figure and being like, "Wow, he's bad. He's got some of the worst forearms." Until Knockout from Prime, because they do the exact same thing, which is they have two panels that they don't even connect together. They just kind of lightly fold around each other, but they don't click.
Yeah.
So they're incredibly gappy, they're incredibly flat, and they have these little nubs coming out that are meant to be his quote-unquote fingers, which again are terrible.
Yeah. And he's blocky. The version in the film is supposed to be live and exciting. This one's just...
He's fat.
Kind of a... Yeah.
This is Vin Diesel after a Fast and Furious movie is done, and he's got off the gear, and he hasn't worked out for a while, and he just plumps up. You know, it's disappointing. This isn't the Jazz I saw in the movie. What happened? And the fact that he's got his bumper on just as a... Is it a shield? It's just plugged into his shoulder. You can't hold it.
No. Being generous, we can call it a shield, but it's not great. And his gun is weird as hell.
Is it a gun? No. Oh, yeah, no. It's a gun. It's a weird
gun
sniper rifle.
Lance
yeah, that's it. I thought it was meant to be a lance. I couldn't remember, though. Yeah.
Yeah. It hurts because Jazz is one of my favorite characters in Transformers. And the movies have always kind of done him rotten.
I mean, who did they do right in the movies? I think that's a much shorter list than who they didn't do well. Because I don't think they did a lot right. Also, the color scheme just being... At least it's not flat grey plastic. It was a silverish kind of plastic, but still makes him look... I mean, he's realistic to his alt mode, I suppose. But it's a little bit on the boring side, at least in my opinion.
It is. I mean, the nicest thing you can say about Jazz is at least he has the classic Jazz visor going on. But
yeah.
That's kind of it.
Weird ears, though. Weird reverse rabbit ears, because they bend forward, which I never quite understood. Excel Hedge says, yes, my first ever RC, best movie RC, not counting Rise of the Beasts. Is it the best? I guess we'll figure out as we go through the movie things. Is it the best? Well, she doesn't have wheel legs. She actually has real legs, so that's definitely a point in RC's favor. I'll give you that.
It's weird because Rise of the Beast RC, didn't she only ever get a core class figure? She didn't get a full size release, did she?
I think she got a proper figure. I think she got a proper one at some point. I think they must have done.
Honestly, trying to work out the toy lines for Rise of the Beasts is. Well, that's your headache to work out, and mine just to ramble over it.
Yeah, I don't have to
When we
worry
get
about
there.
that for a bit at least. Excel Hedge says, "How dare you put Prime Knockout in the same tier as Movie Jazz? They're both. How can I not? Prime, the Prime toy, the Prime Knockout toy is bad. It's disappointing because he's a cool character, and they're him and Jazz, and oddly enough, Transformers Prime Robots in Disguise. Cliff Jumper also has this really shitty arm design, but at least that Cliff Jumper, the arm kind of pegs a little bit, not well, but it does kind of peg, even though it's gappy as fuck. So they're similar. I think this one, I remember this one's Automorph slightly does something where his chest kind of moves very slightly forward, and his nipples move slightly inwards, but not noticeably. You remember that?
Sadly, yes. This was that period where Automorphs was all the rage.
Yeah, like Jazz didn't suffer as much as, say, Einheit, who we'll be talking about later, but it's just a... But why?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It's point. Well, a lot of Automorph is kind of worthless and pointless, but again, we'll get to it, I suppose. Oh shit! I didn't say if there were any repaints, and there were repaints of Jazzerino, the Jazzman.
Repaints.
Let's check.
There's far
Okay.
more than you'd expect.
Yeah, there is. Okay, so Target exclusive Jazz, which is the Jazz figure. But what if he was G1 color? I think he looks more interesting. Apart from his head, the head could definitely use. I know, like they're keeping in, in style with the original toy, but because his engine core where his head sits is black, and then his little weird rabbit Batman ears are black as well. His head merges a little bit.
Kind of blend in a bit.
Yeah, but you have to do it. The only other way would have been to paint the engine block, I guess. I don't know. What do you think of this one, Big D?
That bright silver. I mean, the colours are a lot more interesting, definitely. I think the fact that on the head, at least, you got that brighter silver they use for the mouth plate as opposed to the more greyish silver from the main line.
Yeah,
helps offset the fact that it's a big black mass on his shoulders.
Yep.
And his head. Although I do like the fact the head seems to be in a slightly gloss colour, more so than the rest of the black.
It's weird that that's the case.
On his feet, just a bit glossy.
I wonder if just the lighting for this photo, because it's always hard to tell. But I get what you're saying at least.
That could be it. But overall, it's G1 Jazz colours, which is it's the old Martini racing colours for Porsche. It's iconic.
The car mode looks more interesting in this color as well.
Yeah,
I'll give it that.
Yeah.
I think this car mode's better than the original color.
Still the Porsche.
Yeah, a boring silver. Yeah, this has a bit more oomph behind it. So it's like, okay, well, fair enough. There's the that's what it was called, all spark powered Jazz. So what's this one? This is what if the toy but has bits of blue on it? The all spark powered toys were all fucking shit. Because it's what if this toy just had random bits of blue slopped on it? I don't think I bought any of them unless they were a unique mold. Because if you put the Allspark one next to the standard Jazz vehicle mode, they look exactly the same. They look no different. Stupid.
Yeah. It's in vehicle mode, especially in robot mode. It's like, why has Jazz got all this blue on him?
Yeah. What's the point?
It's
It's there. It's like, well, all right.
Was it? They went through this phase because they did it power core combiners where all the combiner joints had that same blue as a plastic shade,
which I don't mind inherently. I mean, I think that's fine for the combiner thing. That's okay, but I know what you mean. It's like someone like that blue.
It's a nice unified gimmick thing, but but you're right on the figures that were from the main line anyway. From the main movie line, just reissued in these new colors, it really does nothing for
No. There was also the movie premium which was this is the fancy one version. So this had metallic-y painted silver, which is nice. You know, it's still what if grey jazz, but then what if grey jazz but shiny metallic metals colors paint used on him, which is like, well, fair enough. I don't think there's much to say on it unless you do, Big D. It's just like, well, here's the figure.
No. These premium paint jobs have never been more than you want to call them lazy, but they do generally put some work into them, but it's just no.
His I will say
premium money for
the added detail of like gold underneath his visor is quite nice. His nipple lights have got like an extra bit of paint underneath them, so like the top bit's yellow, the bottom bit's blue. That's kind of nice. They've got like little bits of this antique kind of gold splattered on him, but again, it's not to the point where it was vastly better than the original version. It's just kind of a okay, it's a little bit better.
And honestly, if they'd done that for the main release, the economies of scale come into play, and they could probably have sold. At least it would have given people a reason to buy Jazz in it. He's got a nice deco.
Yeah.
As opposed to being boring.
Yeah, he still would have been a bad figure, but at least he's got a bit of that wow factor to him, or a bit more of a wowie sauce. But it's another kind of woof one. Then there's Smoke Screen. Is that from Revenge of the Fallen Smoke Screen? Using the wrong blue for Smoke Screen because it's a grayish blue, which Smoke Screen isn't. He's oddly enough an Allspark blue. I do like the added stripes on the back of him. I think that's kind of nice, but the front is just boring, nice. Unfortunately. You know? Yeah,
it's another slightly odd one because you can see from the picture of the shield, it's actually quite a deep, rich blue. It doesn't come across like that from a distance. It always looks very washed out and drab.
Yeah, it's weird. Robot mode.
Like Incubi Darkness taken up much.
I was thinking almost Dark Reaper kind of color.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, that splash of gold on they've used for his mouthpiece works, coupled with that metallic for the rest of the head. That actually does work quite nicely because it's offset against the slight. Is that a slight bronzy effect they've used for? So I'm trying to load the.
For what?
No, it's. No, I was trying to see if I wasn't sure if they'd used a slightly bronzish shade for the shoulder piece.
Oh no,
where his head sits.
Yeah, I know.
But no, but the fact the head's cast in the same color as the rest of the body, so it's got that dark blue grey to it. That actually does work quite nicely for it. But again, it's an interesting paint scheme just in some ways, but it's not really selling the figure. I
still think it's a fairly boring paint scheme. I think the highlight is the vehicle mode, and even then the front of the car mode's a little bit on the dull side. What it adds to the robot, he's got some nice thighs, I suppose, but that's about it.
I mean, if some of that colour had been on the bonnet, that would have been nice.
Would have done something at least. Yeah, it's very much another like.
Because that would have translated to the arms and the torso, but. As is,
another kind of woof one.
Nice try, no cigar.
And then they pulled him out for one more movie for Dark of the Moon, Autobot Jazz in 2011. Wow, they just didn't stop. His car mode is black, kind of, and then has black Cybertronian symbols on it. So they're kind of hard to read. I don't know why they decided that was a good choice, but that was the choice that they went with. And then for the robot mode, you reveal silverish, purpley, pearlescent kind of bits. So, he's translucent plastic. That's why he looks fucking weird. That's why he looks weird in vehicle mode, because he's translucent. All the black is not black. It's translucent plastic, smoky gray black. Oh dear. Okay.
Oh Jesus.
Okay. Well, they really liked translucent plastic for Dark of the Moon for some reason, but. Here he is, I guess.
If you want a figure that can replicate how Jazz meets his end in the first movie, well, this one will eventually let you do that.
It's weird because ironically, where he would be ripped in half, that's the solid plastic part, which is like, well, of course it is. Of course it is. That's the strongest part of the toy.
There are actually some interesting choices. So they've got that bronzy color for some of the joints,
Yeah.
the connecting points. That's quite nice. The top of the shoulders is that pearlescent, creamy plastic, which you can see across his thighs and his hips, which is. It's not a bad bit of plastic they've used there. And there's some nice solid, I'm assuming it's paint they've used for the silver on his lower legs
it must
his
be.
feet in places.
Yeah.
But that's actually a really nice crisp silver with a bit of gold added to it. So it's so weird because there's so much about this that kind of appeals, but then it's on a bad figure.
Yeah, and then it's not only is it a bad figure, but it's also translucent plastic.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay.
So it's
yeah. Jazz was one of the ones I was most disappointed with when I got him. I just didn't like the toy. I thought it handled badly. I didn't think it transformed desperately well. I thought he was pretty ugly and still do as a figure. Even the Studio Series one, which made the design better, because it didn't just use this toy. Even then, I still didn't think it looked very good, And that's from a design aspect, from just how he was made to look for the movie. Unfortunately, Jazz, you were a bad figure, my dude.
Sadly, yes.
Were you going to say something else about him?
No, you summed it up quite nicely. It's such a shame.
Yeah. Another shame, but one that's been allowed to carry on for many decades, is Barricade. Yay.
Oh, yes.
Who did come with Frenzy. Even though it doesn't show you him here, he unfolded his, what do you call bull horns? Bull bars on the front of his car mode, and it would poop out a little Frenzy. But when he did poop out a little Frenzy, it would mean that he had a slightly hollower chest. He had incredibly long, lanky arms and very tall shoulders, but then also had quite thin legs and squat as well. So he had this weird proportions, not like he did in the movie. I did think they did the head sculpt fairly well, but again, proportionally in robot mode, he just looked weird. He looked like a slightly oversized Micromaster in terms of his proportions.
I'd agree with that. And it's such an odd one because Barricade now is become a bit of almost an ever steady presence. If there's a toy line with the Datsuns, odds on we'll get a redeco as Barricade now.
I don't know. Yeah, and I don't know why. I don't know why they
dislike.
No, but I just don't know why they just went police car Datsun. We don't have enough. Do Barricade as well. I'm always like, just make his own mold. He's not a Datsun. He was never a Datsun until you just arbitrarily decided he's going to be based off Prowl now. Because Prowl's a police car, I suppose.
Because Don Figueroa did him as based off of the G1 Smokescreen comic book design.
Was that the first? Did that come first, or did the toy design concept come first?
That was the first time they did that.
Okay.
That was in what was it? The sequel comic book series IDW put out? I think it was.
The sequel to the main line?
Sequel to the original Marvel comic.
Well, the Marvel... I don't know about the Marvel comic. Wasn't it? No. Oh, fuck, what was it called? I was going to say Resurrection.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it was like that, or Resurrection or some shit like that. Or something like that.
Yeah, it was an odd series.
Yeah.
Fun for all that. But there was a lot of stuff like that in there. And that was where I think someone at Hasbro saw that and thought, oh, what a good idea. We haven't got to design a whole new model anymore for him. We'll just make him the Decepticon's even creepier version of Prowl. Which, given... Well, I mean, IDW opted to make him not so much the creepier version of Prowl, just the somehow more jaded, less extreme version of Prowl, if that could... Which is a hell of a thing to say about the ultimate being a more extreme version of the two. But
Exel Hedge says Regeneration 1. That was the one. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
Exel Hedge also says, love Barricade. I assume you mean design-wise. Hated his punching gimmick and its stupid hair trigger on his arm. I forgot, did he have a hair trigger?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, he did. Spring-loaded punching action. Oh, maybe that's why I didn't like him as well. Yeah, he had weird arms. He didn't have, like, proper elbow bends. I mean, if you look at the figure, I guess you can easily tell his arms don't work super well. I think you can tell which arm is the punching gimmick as well, which is a little bit on the disappointing side. Yeah, for a character design from the movie who I thought was kind of cool and clearly lasted long enough because he kept popping up in movies, this was, again, not a very fun, cool toy, but I think the police car mode, his vehicle mode, was pretty nice. It looked fairly cohesive. It wasn't too gappy.
Yeah.
You could tell where it's split, obviously, but for the most part, you looked at it and went, yeah, that's an okay cop car, to be fair.
I mean, a lot of yacht modes that were the big licenses. So this was the Ford Mustang
Yeah.
in the movie, and they licensed it for the toy. A lot of those yacht modes actually do put the work in to look pretty.
Yeah,
decent.
if you're going to use our fucking license, it better look good or we'll fucking sue you.
Yeah, GM and Ford said, you want to use our car designs? Sure. Pull up baseball bat. Now, are you going to fuck them up in toy mode?
Yeah.
No.
No, we'll fuck up the robot mode. That'd be okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Young Barricade. Again, had a lot more repaints than one might presume. So we got the Recon Barricade movie design where they hollowed out his eyes, so he's got white clear plastic eyes, and then they made him grey, which is a bit, but they gave him bits of blue as well. So kind of pulls it back together in terms of a color scheme. I think it looks quite good, apart from the eyes. The eyes do make him look like he's a resurrected dead robot, I feel.
Yes. That's quite funny.
Yeah. But we mentioned he's blue. He's not all spark blue. He's a deeper blue than that. I actually think this color scheme works quite well. I think maybe the vehicle mode looks a little bit on the boring side, but the robot mode makes it, again, more interesting, kind of swaps it around.
I think so. That blue with the grey in robot mode works for him.
Yeah.
Especially where some bits are in a more metallic shade. The vehicle mode, but then it's supposed to be like a security guard's car rather than a cop car. So, yeah.
Oh, that security guard has a really fucking fancy, nice car then. Just in boring colors.
Yeah.
So you have that one. You have the... Oh, here we go. We have the all-spark powered bludgeon.
There we go.
There it is. Never mind. I thought we didn't have that. So random bits of blue. I do like the blue on the face. I think that's quite good.
Yeah. That works.
Don't know why. It makes me think of an Amberbot from Necromunda. I think it's because of the way the face has been designed. He looks like he's got a little bug face.
Yeah, they did like going for bug faces, didn't they, on some of these?
Yeah. I don't think there's much to say. It's just the original design, but what I've random bits of blue on. Just never very good.
I mean, at least the blue looks more intentional than just weird.
Yeah, than on Jazz, where it's just blobbed on. It still feels a bit blobbed on, but there's a little... Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a little bit more carefully done.
Yeah.
Premium Movie Barricade. He's got more paint on his face, which is nice. I like that.
Yeah.
Robot mode wise, I feel they've done something with the black plastic. It almost feels like it's almost a... I don't want to say metallic-y. It's almost got like a brown tint to it.
It does look a bit... I'm not sure if it looks nicer, but it does have a different feel to it.
Yeah. Again, this is like knowing that the mold is again not very good. I do like the fact that they got rid of the well, they didn't get rid of the translucent windows, but they painted them over in quite a nice effect where it's they look like they're tinted windows. It's like, that looks nice. That's better than the translucent just windows where you just see through into the robot goo and internal organs. So that's nice. But again, it's like, What's that?
I think his internal structure, I think the internals of this one are kind of a much darker plastic anyway, so that helps a lot.
Yeah. It's but again, it's premium, and you're like, yeah, is it that much of a premium figure? I don't know. The head's definitely more accurate at the very least, so give them that. Now, there was also the movie screen battle barricade, which I think was part of a set. Does it say? This figure came with no accessories. Yes, this figure was available with Screen Battle Frenzy, Screen Battle Sam Wheatweeky, and Screen Battle Michaela Baines. Just having a look at them now. Oh, yeah. I don't remember this set. It's not a good-looking set, though. It's a deluxe figure that comes with 3 PVC statues that don't do anything.
Oh, I'm looking at them now, and I do remember these. These were not good.
I can't tell what the paint job is on this. It just looks like the original deluxe figure. I don't think they did anything to it. Unless I'm just not seeing something. Looks exactly the same.
No, I can't see any difference.
They're lying bitches. The lying bitches. Oh, I just remembered looking at this figure. This guy couldn't straighten his legs, could he? He was always in a slightly squatted pose. That's right. I completely forgot until I saw all of these images and I thought, why haven't they straightened his legs out? Ah, that's right, because he couldn't. I can't remember why he couldn't straighten out his legs, apart from obviously it was designed. I don't know why you would design it like that, but for some reason they thought, who needs full straight legs? We can make him an old hunched man.
Yeah.
They also did the Revenge of the Fallen interrogator barricade. Let's see how different that is. That looks pretty similar.
I think they just replaced Frenzy with
Frenzy bits.
Well, with what they're calling probes.
Yeah, which were just like, as far as I know, the Frenzy bits. It was just like where the headlights came out and there were little arms and then the little headlamps. And it's just like, that's it. Again, the color scheme, like you say, is kind of the same. So it just comes with this weird, not Frenzy accessories.
Have they done something? Now, I don't remember on the other versions him having those 2 bits of like the wing the windows from the sides of the car mode.
Yes.
Behind his back.
Yeah, they're there. They're there.
Oh, okay.
They just, in the first one, they had them folded down, I think, but in a couple of the previous like recolors, they were in some of those as well, but not the first one for some weird reason. But again, that's not much of a recolor. This one is the Hunt for the Decepticons Hunter's Rumble Barricade, which is a pretty intense recolor.
Intense is the word.
Yeah, I would have said this. It's almost a British police car, at least the older kind of ones. But then they've got like, I guess this is meant to be from the Hong Kong scene, right? Is it Hong Kong or is it just random bit of China? I can't remember.
I think it's Shanghai.
Is it Shanghai? Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that police cars were, at least it used to be the same as ours, apart from it's got a black hood that says police on the front, just in case you forgot. No punish and enslave, but I do like the blue and yellow checker patterns on the side of the doors. And robot mode is okay. Again, kind of interesting. White and this yellow. The yellow's not a nice yellow. It's kind of a pea yellow color almost.
I mean, it's the same fluorescent yellow as on the checkerboard pattern.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Which I think is quite nice. It's that safety jacket yellow.
Yeah.
Which is very hard to miss. And it kind of works even alongside the white. But it helps with theirs if they've gone for a real nice deep navy blue as well.
Yeah, not used a lot though. Just kind of used in a really few small areas.
Yeah.
It's odd again.
I mean, it's certainly I'd probably say the most interesting of the decos.
Oh god, yeah, this beats the battle screen pack. For sure. Just in terms of they did something. I'd say this is I don't like this the most.
I mean, the only thing letting it down is that none of the windows are painted in any way.
No,
so
no.
You just see all of the fluorescent yellow innards inside.
Yeah, again, most of the barricades don't have the windows painted, unfortunately. I would say it might be my favorite colored version of the mold, I suppose.
I would happily say that.
Yeah, still a bad mold, obviously, but it's like, you know.
but it's for one that at least you'd be happy having because it's interesting.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think this color scheme is. If it has been used before, I can't remember.
I don't think it's been used in Transformers 4. I know it got used a time or two in the early 90s G.I. Joe line.
Oh, that makes sense. But yeah,
I remember. I certainly can remember that. But
yeah.
But it's not been a common one in Transformers. So.
No. Yeah.
So it stands out.
XL Hedge says to punish and enslave. Yep, that was his quote. Next up, we have Bone Crusher, the mine layer, the one on the wheels, the roller skates. That guy had some interesting bits of transformation, I suppose, because I liked the way his arms worked, even though it was very clunky, very big. I did like his head design. Again, his head design was less weird than a lot of the head designs for this movie, but then he had the incredibly Tickle Me Elmo arms. Sorry, Mr. Tickle arms, not Tickle Me Elmo. Tickle Me Elmo just laughs. Mr. Tickle has the weird perverted long hands where he can touch ladies up the dresses. And so does Bone Crusher. Yeah, Cooey. Let me touch your coochie without you knowing. Mr. Tickle's a pervert.
I mean, if you ever watch any of Mr. Men cartoons, that's you can say about a lot of them, to be honest.
That's true. Well, some of them are druggies, like Mr. Happy's clearly on drugs. No one's that happy, I can tell you that much. What did you think of Bone Crusher, though? Because it is worth noting, though he had feet wheels, or wheel feet, he could actually still stand up. He actually had like little pointy bits on the back of the side, so he was still a standy, uppable boy instead of just falling over on his face all the time, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't one I ever had, sadly.
Oh, really? Okay.
I always thought he did look like at least being fun. Did you have Mandy?
I did, yes. I would say he was...
How was he?
He was fun relative to the rest of the line.
Ah, okay.
Is probably how I would describe him. One of the maybe better ones, at least, you know, he's better compared to Jazz, and I'd say better than RC, but then he does have like the weird arms, which not great. He does have like a claw action gimmick for his mine layer. The claws will like in vehicle mode it's easy to see, but you can see that they're on a little mechanical joint, so you pull a lever down and the claws open, or you can have them clap, basically opening and closing. The transformation's okay. There's a few bits in the vehicle mode where you go, oh, hang on a tick, and it's primarily like around the back of the vehicle. You can kind of see where one of his toes are, and they're obviously the same on the other side. But apart from that, vehicle mode is reasonably clean. The robot mode, again, is relatively okay, again, for the line, apart from... As long as you can get past the weirdly long arms. You can get past that, you'll have more fun with them, even though the arms are
Is
quite
he
odd.
one that maybe would have been better served for being up at Voyager?
Oh, yeah. Well, haven't we had a masterpiece of this guy at this point? I think we have, right?
Yes.
And
a studio series, I think.
Yeah, I want to say that he was better. Obviously, time is the thing that'll just make him better, you know, because the better technology and stuff. But I'm pretty sure upping his scale would have definitely helped him. But there was no room in the line to up him. You know, who could he have replaced a Voyager with? I don't know. Well, probably Ratchet, to be fair. Ratchet wasn't a great Voyager, and they did him as a deluxe toy. Was it Dark of the Moon? I think it was Dark of the Moon. He got a deluxe. And that was all right.
That deluxe Ratchet was a lot nicer than the previous versions of him they'd done, I felt.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that when we get to him. In terms of redo, this Bone Crusher had two, apart from the original one. So there's movie Jungle Bone Crusher, because mine layers usually go through the jungle, as far as I'm aware, right?
I mean,
they can. You don't really see them there.
Yes, but
it's not the terrain where he'd love it. The color schemes, instead of gone for the desert color, they've gone with not what I call a jungle green, but a very Dark Angels green.
Yeah, I mean it works for what they're going for, and it does stand quite nicely against the tans and pale greens they've used for.
I think
The
he's a
head
little
and
too close to the desert one, though. Do you not think? Especially with the head color. Like, I know it's not the same as the desert color, but I think it leans too close towards that kind of hue.
I can be behind you on that one. I like it, but I do get what you're saying.
Yeah. I think they should have done something either a bit more bold or a bit more interesting with that instead of just having it close enough, like a few degrees off from the previous color scheme. Especially when the the mine layer mode. Okay, I think looks quite nice in that Dark Angels green. I think that was quite well, and the wheels being kind of a dirty, muddy brown color as well. That's quite nice. It's okay.
Yeah.
But again, not a great repaint. And then there's Hunt for the Decepticons: Fury of Bone Crusher. So the set was called Fury of Bone Crusher, and this is Bone Crusher.
Okay.
They've painted his face to be like one eye is metallic-y, the other isn't. So I'm guessing this is like the Kano effect from Mortal Kombat.
Well, do you remember in the film Prime cut his head in half?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So this is his cyborg patch, which is like, yes, the robot has a cyborg patch. Of course. It's silly, but in terms of like paint scheme wise, otherwise, his little arm. One of his little arms is also metallically painted, while the other one's just used in green.
And then with a gash across the front of his truck mode, which is
there it is. Yeah, they're trying to do something. Like they're trying to give like a story to the paint scheme, but it doesn't go. Yeah. It doesn't go hard enough, I don't think. And I think it would have helped for some very not basic, but some remolding of parts to change them, like change one of the hands to like a hook or a chainsaw, something like that. Like he's lost the arm, but he's got like a new chainsaw weapon to get Prime or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a chunk of their budget for this set went on the extra gubbins his packmate carried, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, this figure was exclusively available at Walmart with the Fury of Bone Crusher's Ironhide. Oh, that's not a pretty Ironhide. We'll talk about this Ironhide later. Yeah.
He had a couple of extra guns, which I think is probably where the budget went for this set, sadly.
More than likely. But yeah, Bone Crusher, In terms of these repaints, the repaints are oddly enough pretty boring, I think.
Yeah.
Not much to him.
Same shade of off yellow as Drop Shot, if I remember right.
Oh, you might be right. You might be right.
So kind of fits in there, but still,
weak sauce. Not Bone Crusher. Brawl is not up next. Devastator, as he was called in the movie, and still is, because they haven't fixed that. Spring-loaded missile, obviously. Flip-out blade, and rotating turret. Wow, the rotating turret is an actual feature rather than a prerequisite. Never mind. I think the rotating turret means specifically on his shoulder, on his forearm in in robot mode. Right?
Okay, that's...
Because I thought that was a really egregious, stupid gimmick. Because what you do is imagine a Megatron fusion cannon kind of design, but instead you spin it around like a helicopter blade. So the bottom end is the Gatling gun, which he had in the movie, but then it's got the turret sticking out the back of it. So again, it looks really awkward and weird looking.
Yeah. This is...
He did have an automorph gimmick, a basic one, at least I remember, because the front treads flip up onto the top of his shoulders, which is okay. But then I remember them being quite jiggly as well. I remember it being very jiggly.
Yeah.
And of course, Brawl has a lot of side tank kibble. Although his front treads are on top of his shoulders, the side panels, I guess, the armor plating around those treads just kind of awkwardly folds onto the side of his shins. which again looks a little bit awkward. Again, proportionally, he just is a bit of an ugly toy, and he does have a big back kibble clunk on his back as well. Though the tank mode is pretty nice. I think that tank mode's reasonably nice looking.
It's a decently solid tank mode. He just never felt nice in hand.
No.
Not as deluxe.
No, do you think it was thin? Like, I think my mind says he felt thin in terms of plastic quality. I don't know if that's true, though.
I think you're right on that score, because he was a... I mean, Brawl's always been a bit of an odd one from the movie, especially when they put him at this scale, because it's so compromised.
Yeah. Well, again, that's why they... Was it for this movie, or was it for the Revenge of the Fallen when they made him a leader as well? I think it was this one, right? Didn't they do it for... Wasn't it for
the... him as a leader, and then they did Desert Brawl.
That's right, yeah, because...
For Revenge.
Was it all... Was this due to, like, the Allspark color? I mean, I don't think he had Allspark colors on him, but the subline, you know, was he pumped out there, or was he just pumped out later into the waves? I can't remember.
I can't remember.
Because I remember his packmate was the repaint of Prime, you know, the greenish bluish one. That was it. Yeah. So it was him and Prime, because before that was Prime and Megatron, obviously. So yeah, this one's again just feels weird. I actually had the fast action battle version of Brawl and preferred him, even though that was a massively compromised toy. I thought it was more fun to play with than the deluxe figure. Haha.
I mean, sometimes that's kind of what you want. Sometimes it's just fun.
Well, these didn't get as messy as they were gonna get for Revenge of the Fallen, but Brawl, some of them were not the most fun to play with. What a shock! There's an Allspark powered version of the deluxe Brawl where he has once again random bits of blue just kind of coomed all over him. So that's boring.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a bit of a camo deco on the tank, which is
a little bit, yeah,
something, but still.
Yeah. Then there's Revenge of the Fallen Deep Desert, not Deep Desert, not Shallow Desert. This is Deep Desert Brawl. I'm always down for desert camo tanks. They're always cool. They look good.
Yeah.
I think the paint scheme is nice enough. I don't know. Is the pattern good? Or does it just look like someone got a just chocolate sauce and put it on like caramel flavored ice cream?
I mean, given they clearly didn't have the budget to do a proper chocolate chip style camo.
Yeah.
With bits of green, and instead they've done for more traditional camo striping effect, but for where you have that off-white cream color plastic shown through, that helps kind of give the illusion that the deco is more complex than it is. It's not a great illusion, but it's there. I think that's what they've gone for here, to try and get a bit of the plastic to help out with more complexity than they've actually been able to give it.
Yeah, because whenever I think of the desert camo, I think more of come on, website. I think more of this from the Micro Machines style, which it looks a little bit chocolatey sauce, but not nearly as intense, if you know what I mean. If you look at some of these Micro Machine camos, they're not nearly as I don't know. There's just something about the way that they've spliced it on here that just doesn't look quite right to me, and I can't put my finger on exactly what it is.
Well, what it is, almost all of these camos you're showing, they're what are generally called chocolate chip camo. So
okay.
You have the swirls, but you also have a third color over the top, and that's either darker or lighter.
I see what you're saying.
And this doesn't have that anyway. And that's the limitation of decos, sadly.
Yes, yeah. Well, paint jobs, I suppose, right? You only have so much budget.
Yeah. So they've done the best they can. And I think it works for what it is, but they're having much better desert camo decos out there. But the fact at least they've changed everything about him. So the plastic for the frame underneath is that off cream color. Which the fact that it helps differentiate him much more from that redeco with Bone Crusher, who didn't do that as much. His frame was much closer on the desert, on the jungle deco to the mainline release.
Right.
This one feels much more like a much more intentional, complete transformation, if that makes sense.
I get you.
Yeah.
On a big side note, as a kid or a younger gentleman, did you ever have any of the Micro Machines military sets?
I must confess, I didn't have much Micro Machines as a kid because I was all in on Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Ah, that's fair. I had a lot of them because I guess they were cheap to get. Oh, they were brilliant. Little pocket army things. They were really fun. And the bases that had the action features where you could blow up bridges and stuff was really neat.
I remember they always looked cool, but I was
You were too
pretty
deep.
much, I was in the zone.
You were in a much more expensive collecting thing.
Oh yeah, my G.I. Joe collection at one point was yeah.
Well, I had the Micro Machines. Galoob Cat. Oh, that's what it is. The vintage. What's this? Wolf Ridge Battleground. What a cool set that was.
I remember that. Yeah,
it was such a cool. Yeah. So there was a ramp at the top. There was a little button here where you could press it, and I don't know why they put the tower here because the tower went where the little man was standing. And it was meant to be you press the button and then the thing would roll down. So I don't know why that's there. There was this kind of ramshackled, broken home. There was a button you press and each of the walls exploded. So it would just kind of explode into like pieces, which was pretty neat as well. Then it had a firing missile. And the bridge would explode as well. And that was broken into 4 pieces. So there's the ramp up, the actual flat bit of the bridge, and then the 2 metal bits on the side. Oh, it's such a cool little set. Micro Machines. Buy them. They're fun. Or they were. I wonder how much they are these days. Probably a lot, I'd imagine. And they're better than normal Micro Machines because they were army vehicles with guns. Yeah, violence. Extreme violence. Music Man says, all transforming Micro Machine playsets were amazing. They were. Yeah, the fact that you could just like pick up a playset and carry it around with you. And it would have all these little... Yeah, it was Mighty Max, but with army vehicles instead of just a boy. So it made it cooler. Next up, Transformers Wives. We got the first Bumblebee. That's not the concept Camaro. What's the first Bumblebee called?
This is the 70s Camaro.
70s Camaro. Oh boy, this was another disappointing figure from that line that I got. And, oh boy, is he an ugly bitch with big feet. Krusty the Clown, big feet. And with automorphing nipples, too, for no particular reason. Like his entire front chest, automorphed for, again, like I say, no real reason. He had a weird knee design. Like I said, big feet. A lot of kibble. Did not look like he did in the film at all, I'd say.
Yeah.
Proportionally and whatnot. And then you got 2 guns which you stuck on his wheels which were his shoulders, and again, looked kind of shitty. He wasn't a fun toy. Very gangly, very lanky, very skeletal, oddly enough as well.
Yeah, it's such a weird... It felt like such an afterthought as well, which is weird given the actual alt mode is quite nice.
I think this goes back to what we were saying earlier. Make the fucking alt mode good, you piece of shit, or we'll sue you.
I know, but this is supposed to be the main Autobot character of the film. And
maybe the budget went towards the concept Camaro version. Maybe that's what happened.
More than likely. But
they went, what if we don't spend it on this figure and we spend it all on the concept Camaro version? Because I'd say not even there's something about the window screens as well. They're painted on, so that's good. But there's something that just looks cheap about them.
On the side ones, the way they've been applied, not square to the frame.
Is that what it is? You might be right.
Yeah.
I can tell you there's one aspect that is annoying, and it's like they've got these like quote-unquote battle damage smudge, but it ends exactly where the door frame ends, which is not how a smudge would work. And it's obviously it's because the door frame or the door that splits open is a separate piece, and they just didn't carry over the paint scheme onto it. But it's kind of the same on the roof. It's just a big old weird black smudge, but then hard cuts off. It's weird.
You'd think And the annoying thing about that is that it's not something they've learned not to do. They keep doing it.
Yeah.
And you just think, why are you still doing this? Just don't let that bit of deco go across separate panels. Just keep it to one panel. And that way no one is going to point out that it looks
Weird.
gash.
Yeah.
Or at
Or
least
go all in. Make sure you do it right.
Yeah.
And they're not going to
Yeah.
do that, obviously.
No.
So don't do it.
Yeah. So
Simon Tang says, Dave, did you get the Masterpiece Brawl? There is no one here called Dave. There is Big D. Hello, Big D.
I mean, in fairness, I've been called Dave more than once in my life. But no, I haven't had the Masterpiece Brawl, sadly.
No, I haven't had the Masterpiece Brawl either.
No, I pieced out a Masterpiece after the original MP1 Convoy.
Wait, is Masterpiece Brawl the Revenge of the Fallen one?
I think he was, yeah. Same as the Masterpiece,
Optimus
Starscream,
Prime.
and
Yeah.
Optimus Prime.
Unless there was another one at some point more recently that they did.
I think there was.
I don't think there was either, but I don't know. they could have done. XL Head says they need to bring back Mighty Max. They do. 1, Belter cartoon. 2, you know what was really good about Mighty Max, Big D? The sticker album.
Oh.
The sticker album was fucking immense. I love that sticker album. But I don't know about you, Big D, but as a kid, I loved sticker albums. The only sticker albums that were shit were football sticker albums. And I remember kids in first school being like, I got Peter Beardsley. And I'm like, who the fuck's Peter Beardsley? It's like, oh, he's Newcastle's dude. And he's got, I just looked at him and went, he's got a weird head. Peter Beardsley had a weirdly shaped head. And I don't know any of these peoples, but the shiny stickers look cool.
Hell yeah.
There's a Gladiators one? Okay, let's get that. There's a Mighty Max one? There are no shiny stickers? Oh, the glow-in-the-dark stickers? Oh, shit. Oh, boy. Yeah, sticker albums were great as a kid. I loved them.
Hell yeah.
The worst thing about them was you never completed them.
God, no, because by the time you could buy the damn things, the stickers normally sold out. As you were near the end. It's like, what do you mean I can't get these anymore?
Yeah, and unless they were popular and like kids were trading them at school, you were never getting them. You'd tell your mum, like, oh, your dad, like, oh, this is how much it costs to get the rest. And they'd be like, you fucking what? Jog on. And then they'd throw you into a river or something. At least mine did. Mr. Adam White says, do you want me to start calling you Dave?
Let's not, shall we?
What about Davido? Call him Donovan.
The thing is, I have had someone call me DeVito in the past.
Big Donovan. They call him the Big Donovan. That's a good name for you, Donovan. Music Man says, Clunker B gives the 77 Camaro a bad name. Which one's Clunker B? Clunker B. Or is this Clunker B?
This is this one.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, yeah.
Although, point of order, this is for 76 Camaro. Thank you very much.
Oh, push those glasses up your nose, sir. So, in terms of redo, if I can get to the bottom of this fucking list. God damn, there were a lot of Bumblebees. Jesus Christ. Apparently, there was a movie, a Japanese version, which there is no image available. Evolution of a Hero, 76 Camaro B, which...
Yeah, that's the 2-pack, yeah.
Which is exactly the same. So I don't know why they've got it as a quote-unquote recolor, because it's the fucking same. And then there's Tribute Bumblebee Evolution 1977 Camaro Bumblebee.
Oh, this was the triple pack. Hang on, I'll ping you a picture. I've just found it. There we go.
Hang on.
This was...
Oh, okay. Is it? Hang on. Let me get it on screen. Is it even that different? Oh, it's on eBay. I clicked the link and it's like, how much? Okay, Big D, do you want to buy this this 3-pack of shit Bumblebee, another Bumblebee, and another Bumblebee for $110.99 brand new?
Oh, hell no.
Pounds as well. I can't tell what the difference is apart from like. His face is painted silver?
I think that's the main difference, and the deco's a little better.
Is it? Yeah, the windows don't look as weird. Oh, they've taken the smudges off of him.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a huge... I mean, it's not £110 worth of an increase, I grant you, but I guess it's something. Still a shit figure, unfortunately. Again, if you look at this evolution, you start on the left-hand side with that Bumblebee, and you go to the next Bumblebee. Next Bumblebee looks way better. I can't remember which Bumblebee that one is, or the last Bumblebee. I'm guessing...
Last Night B and Age of Extinction B.
Oh, either way, they both look far better than Clunker Bumblebee, I guess, as he's going to be known.
The thing is, though, you could have put the concept Bumblebee from the same bloody film as this one next to it, and it's like night and day.
Yeah, it's it's weird though. He didn't have any real repaints being a Bumblebee. I guess they went harder for the concept Bumblebee. We'll talk about, so we'll skip Swindle and we'll talk about the concept Bumblebee because I should have arranged these better. Then we'll go back to Swindle. So concept Bumblebee, I remember having this one. This is obviously a vast improvement over Clunker B. Vast improvement. He's still not perfect. I don't like the fact he has the roof of his car mode on the underside of his forearms. I think that's bad. They're on swivel joints, so they look awkward. But generally, like his legs are far better. They are still a little bit ugly in some aspects. And I never got with how the chest worked, and you can see there's a big spring there as well, somewhere in his chest doing something.
I mean,
which
this is where they were trying to replicate how he transformed, which is one of those. The thing is, as much as the Bay films try to champion the fact that all our Transformers transform realistically, like no, they fuck.
No, they don't. They liar.
Stop lying, Mike.
Liar.
None of these.
They were a better trick than Beast Machines. I'll give them that. They looked like they were really doing it compared to a Beast Machines Transformer. But don't lie.
I mean, this gets points for effort, and you do see this is kind of like the start of movie bees. Actually,
yes,
they do go on a real upward tick from here, I feel.
Yeah, the like Clunker Bee feels like the prototype that they went, I'll put it out. And it's like, no.
Well, the one they felt that they had to do. and it's a shame because you look at this one and you just think, well, why could you not have made this fit within the old Camaro body? Maybe
this is one of those things where, you know how they had the two preview figures of Starscream and Optimus, who we'll get to eventually in probably part 2. They were both pretty shit. The ones that turned into poo, literal floating poo. Yeah. That feels like that and the Camaro Bumblebee, the old Clunker Bumblebee, were designed around a similar-ish time. Yeah. And then this was designed a little bit later. I don't know if that's true or not. It just feels like those were bad. This was better.
I mean, to be fair, we don't know how long they had to design Clunker B.
No.
Was that something they were given a lot of lead time on compared to this version? Or were they suddenly told, as everything else was kind of in high gear, oh, by the way, B's also going to be an older Camaro for a few seats, so you want you to do a toy with him as well.
Yeah, get another one out.
And design goes, okay. And just cram whatever he can make work.
Or again, like we say, this one just had more money put into him.
Yeah.
It could be a thing as well.
Like, yeah.
But yeah, this one transforms a lot better. Obviously looks a lot better. And again, his car mode looks pretty good. The knock I'll give the car mode is you can tell that the doors are translucent plastic with yellow paint on them. Yeah. So they same for the window screen. You can see that the metal bits on the side of the window screen that connect to the roof. The frame, that's the word. Thank you. Yeah, that's not as complex as I thought it was going to be. The frame, you can also tell it's just painted yellow as well, which is a little bit on the ugly side. But this is 2007, so they'd never do this again, would they? Oh, they'd never do that again. It would never be that egregious ever again either. But again, it doesn't look too bad. His weapon's fine.
Yeah, at least he has hands he can hold it with.
It's true.
Which is kind of a low benchmark, but for this line, it's high praise.
Yes, he doesn't have weird fingers. He doesn't have weird Beast Machines hands, unlike RC and some of the other ones. That's a fair point. I didn't even consider thinking about that. They are open-handed, but let's note that he has open hands that can hold round objects.
Yeah.
Why mention this? Because RCs have open hands, but must handle square objects or angular objects. It's still weird, even to this day.
Yeah, it's a fun weapon as well.
It's not bad.
Blaster-
It's
the
a
Black
gun
Mode
and a
actually
stabber.
Yeah. I mean, the gun mode looks like his gun in the film, and then split open, you get a funky translucent blade.
I agree.
Dig it. Yeah.
Redos, we have Evolution of a Hero, which we technically talked about, or it feels like we have. This is Fucked Up B. This is one where they've actually put an okay amount of effort into the battle damage. Like, I think it's not perfect. There are parts where they've got, like, on the front of the car mode, you've got the grime on the front bumper. Then it does kind of just end in the center of the hood. But the smudge on the top of the roof is well done and kind of transitions off well. The damage on the side of the doors look good. And then in robot mode, he could have probably done with a bit more silver paint on the black. But in terms of battle damage stuff, it's like, it's okay.
Just the fact that they'd have used silver over the battle damage, just on its own, that's a novelty. That's worth applauding, because that does help. Yeah.
And again, nothing crazy, but you go, yeah, okay. Simon Tang says, what about Super Dave? No one talks about Super Dave. No one talks about Super Dave. He's a mystery. There's also screen battle capture of Bumblebee. What happens in that scene, I wonder? So what have they done here? Oh, they've changed his black plastic to grey, so I guess technically he's more accurate, but he looks more boring, I think. Yeah, because the grey doesn't work well with the yellow.
The black always just worked really nicely for what they were doing.
Obviously, this is arguably more screen accurate because grey is closer to metal than black is, but this doesn't look as nice. Other than that, I think it's the same, right? Unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, you just get a trio of minifigures. Simmons and a couple of agents. So if you want to replicate Bumblebee leaking all over John Leguizamo.
That's a fair point. We never got a Tiddle Me Bumblebee figure.
John Turturro.
Yeah, we never got a Bumblebee that pissed on people. You know, like those dolls they used to have eons ago, where they would just piss themselves. And I always thought when I saw those on TV adverts, like, who wants that? Who wants a figure? Who wants the doll that pisses himself? Apparently, girls did. Yeah. But girls are weird, so no saving them, I suppose. Why didn't we get one of those for Bumblebee? That's an interesting question, Big D. Consider, right, as I refine the image of Bumblebee. As boys, right, we got gross and weird toys, right? Like you would make the Terminator, and you'd have like goo that you'd cover the Terminator in. It would make skin, and you could like peel the skin off of him. You had that. Yeah. You had like your Sweetie Crate, and the Sweetie Crate was like Creeps and Crawlies, where it was just like you shot goo into a mold and it made bugs.
Yeah, the old slime pit for your Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, and the slime pit for the Masters of the Universe. We had toilet creatures, like monsters.
Yeah.
But we never had anything that would piss itself.
No.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but...
I mean, you'd have thought if anyway, that would have been a gimmick for the Action Man line.
I think that's just that just draws a line in the sand where we'll do weird and gross things. He just pisses himself. Dr. Rex has reappeared. Oh no. No, not Dr. X. Yeah, no. So maybe girls are just weirder than us. Maybe that's the thing. Consider that. There's also, back on topic and not pissing, Allspark-powered Bumblebee, which is Bumblebee, but what if random bits of blue all over him? Not even all over him. In very, very small selected spots on him.
And incredibly random as well.
Yeah.
Even more random than any of the other ones we've seen so far.
We got little bits on either side of his kneecaps. He's got one for his cock, I suppose. What bits from the inside of his forearm, and then what looks like he's wearing a blue bib underneath his head. Oh yeah,
He's gone for the old double mohawk effect.
Oh yeah, you're right. I didn't see those. Good call. But yeah, that's yep.
It's a look.
It's a look. Then there is, of course, the obligatory cliff jumper, which I think has a... Does it have a remold to the head? No, it doesn't have... I thought the head was remolded. But they've just painted the mouth bit red as well, so he looks...
Yeah.
He reminds me a bit of... Do you remember... Was it G.I. Joe that had the space version where there was just a skull with like little...
Action Force.
Is that what it was?
Action Force days. And,
yeah. It was a skull with black landing struts. And I don't know what it was called, but I remember seeing toy images of that, and that's what the head sculpt painted in this red reminds me of.
Yeah, I can dig that. Hang on, let me find you a suitable picture.
While you're doing that, Simon Tang says, "What about the Human Alliance B?" I don't think he pissed himself.
No.
I don't remember that. I mean, I hope he didn't. And Exel Hedge says, those toys for girls are weird. Why train them to be housewife mother at such a young age? I think girls like to do that stuff. That's why the dolls have always been, like, caring for babies has always been a popular girl thing. I think it seems antithetical to boy who just wants to play with truck. You know, why do boys play with truck? It's like, well, they're cool. Why do boys play with power tool? Because it's a tool. It's a chainsaw. It's cool.
In fairness, there's a bit of that is down to what's marketed at which. There's a whole discussion about gender toy lines and the lot. But I think it's still pretty prevalent today, but at least you tend to see parents being much more willing to just buy the kid what they want.
Yeah.
As opposed to what they think the kid should be playing with.
But again, that's still why those kind of dolls exist. Because
absolutely.
They still buy them. Because for some reason, girls want to have that innate kind of thing built into a lot of them. Oh, yeah, there it is. They didn't have the name on. But that was the thing I was trying to think of, Big D. Thank you.
The Robo Skull.
That's it. What a name. What do we think of Cliff Jumper? He is just red Bumblebee, but he does have a bit more red on it. Sorry, he has a bit more color on him. He has the silver paint, which is quite nice, and then even less small bits of blue on him than the Allspark Bumblebee, but not on his cock, so that's nice.
Yeah, and his Altmo's got a nice couple of panels of black backed silver on, which is nice.
Yes, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I actually have this. I've got both this and the standard B deco, and they're quite nice in hand, to be fair.
I think the only thing I would have liked to have seen is I said I liked the face being just red. I think a bit more color on just, I don't know, the mohawk bits that we talked about, that you mentioned for the Allspark one, if they were colored black, that might help.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's unpainted, you know, it just feels like it needs a little bit more.
I can understand that.
Yeah. It's not bad, it's just, could do with a little wowie sauce. But yeah, this is, it's the standard, it's Cliff Jumper, of course it is.
I mean, this was I think the second major deluxe that got repainted as
probably.
Cliff. Because you had the classics be...
Oh, no, it wasn't. Concept got done. Evolution of Heroes 2007. Screen Capture Bumblebee with 2007. Allspark Bumblebee with 2007. And this one was 2008, apparently. Gone to Allspark site here. TFU, sorry.
The others got coloured as Cliff as well, did they?
What's that?
Interesting. So the others got done as Cliff as well? Because
No, I mean sure. for this mold. For this mold, it went...
Oh, I meant in terms of Cliff Jumper being repainted out of a Bumblebee.
Oh, okay. I mean, the other ones might have been done as well, but not the Clunker Bee. He wasn't Cliff Jumpered for some reason. Don't know why.
No, this is the one I kind of remember, as it was like Classics B and Cliff Jumper was the first time it was a big thing, and then this was kind of the second one. It's like, oh, so this is a thing now. Okay. Cool.
Okay. Then we have Dark of the Moon. This Bumblebee. Was he in a pack? Was this one in a pack? This figure was available exclusively at Walmart stores in 2011, so not part of a pack.
No, this was the time to the Wreckers, though.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because it's got the sports car
Yeah.
blobs everywhere. I think he's got the Wrecker, at least the movie Wrecker insignia on the side of his car mode, I think. I guess it's interesting. The robot mode's a little boring. They've got more of the flat grey.
The Fly Supreme with an Omega symbol is cute.
Yeah. Yeah, that's quite nice.
Yeah.
It's still not a crazy color scheme. It is still just the Bumblebee color scheme, but they have like at least mixed it around. They got the black stripe going down the center of the body, which adds the black blob in the center of his robot mode. I still would say that this is a little bit of a boring repaint personally, because it is just Bumblebee. There's also, I guess, the first movie stealth Bumblebee, where they gave him the battle head, so that's something else that this version had. And this, I guess, was the first version of Bumblebee to go to like reverse the colors. So instead of it being yellow and black primarily, it was black and yellow. But this one, instead of going just black, they added a load of gray plastic in as well, which, okay, that's fine. A good reason to buy this clearly would be for the battle mask helmet, which looked pretty well done, I would say, right?
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah, and the car looks nice. Stealth Bumblebees always look good, I'd say.
It just pops, doesn't it?
It's just a good color scheme.
Yeah.
And this head sculpt was used again for a 3-pack, a Walmart 3-pack Bumblebee figure. So it's just the same figure again, just with the Bumblebee colors, just with this new battle head. This figure was available 2008. This figure was also available exclusively at Walmart stores with animated Bumblebee and Walmart Classics Bumblebee. Oh, we've talked about those two Bumblebees in the past. This was the last one from that set, so that was not a very exciting 3-pack, to be honest.
Nah, not really. It was just a nice way to get those. If you hadn't had any of those free before, it was a nice way to get them.
I guess technically this figure was the only real reason, if you're a big movie fan, to have gotten that set right. Because if you were like, I want Bumblebee with the battle mask, but I want him in the right Bumblebee colors, that's the only way to get him. So, yeah. That was the tale of 500 Bumblebees, of course. We should talk about Swindle. I got rid of Swindle. Hang on. Let's pull up Swindle again. Swindle. Okay, Swindle. Man, this toy. Oh boy, I completely forgot he had the giant gun in his stomach.
I forgot that he had no head.
It's there. It's just mostly a camera head. You know, it could turn left and right, and it was very, very flat. Very flat. His elbows are really fucking weird. His hands are tiny. The position of his shoulders is really low and weird. Again, his chest cannon is bizarre. For some reason, they made the chest cannon, the plastic, translucent plastic. I don't know why. He does have big feet though, so he's got lots of like. They're quite thin, but they stretch forward quite far, stretch back quite far with the heel spur. So he's got some balance to him.
Yeah, I mean he gets points for novelty value just for how they've made the elbows basically part of the wheel assembly. That's cute.
It's but it's ugly. It's cute, but it's ugly.
Yeah.
It's just because of like how he compresses. Like you can stretch him upwards because of how his transformation works, and have the gun in the center, and you just kind of push him downwards and have it smush all together. It's just a weird, ugly drone transformer. It's not one of the better drone figures, that's for sure. I would definitely say that if we look at this and was it Landmine at the start that we talked about? Landmine?
Yeah.
Landmine looks way better than this. Way better. That was a cohesive robot. This is a gimmick, and then a robot's built around it. It's not great. I'll say the car mode looks fine. The gun in car mode, like the chest gun, can poop out his back and become like a little Batman booster rocket thing. So that's
fun.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
Yeah.
neat. It's not. It doesn't justify the chest thing, but or tummy thing.
Yeah.
He was redone once into movie Camshaft, which is why he's appearing now, because alphabetically Camshaft came up first. I think this color scheme's a lot better. Like Swindle was just red and gray. This guy is a bit more flamboyant with. Oh god, let's see. Okay, so he's silver painted with a black streak running down the bonnet to the top of the car, then with a Z symbol on the side of the door. Is that a Z?
I think it is.
It's kind of a Z. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's quite nice. But then in robot mode, he's revealed to have chocolatey-ish kind of brown blobbed in places, and then the Allspark blue again blobbed in some odd spaces as well. He's got background character colors, but he's a bit more interesting than what you might imagine a standard like background character to have, if you know what I mean. Would you agree with that?
I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of wowie sauce to him, a little bit. Mr. White says if there was ever a movie toy that had a glow up feature. This was the place to do it. The light coming from either his head or his chest. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. But obviously him being a deluxe, that budgetary wise, and I know that wouldn't happen. But yeah, him having a big chunk of a gimmick in his chest, a light could have probably gone in there, possibly. Yeah. Camshaft, my preferred one. Weird toy, ugly toy though.
So yeah.
Yeah, not great. Don't like him. Is Dreadwing better? Because Dreadwing's got some really weird fucking proportions.
He does, but he does have that really fun machine gun that comes out of his arm.
What?
Dreadwing. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of the other jet, aren't I?
I was like,
Dreadwing,
what?
Dreadwing's one with the thrust. Oh yes, now I remember Dreadwing.
Yes.
Dreadwing's probably the better to play with, but only if you leave the missiles out of his hands, because otherwise they just get it. So.
Well, you say that, but you can use them as walking sticks to help prop him up.
Yeah.
He doesn't really need it, granted, because his legs, is in terms of like foot to heel spur, they're pretty good because they're exactly the same shape on the front as to the back. But proportionally, this figure's weird. His waist and legs are tiny compared to his upper torso. Tiny.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know by how much of a percentage, but they are noticeably smaller. I was never a big fan of how they did the elbow joints in this figure either, and his forearms, obviously being the back of his jet mode, are fucking huge. His head, you can't see in the photo, but backwards, like if you just go backwards, that's just the jet. That's the cockpit.
Yeah.
So he has a very long, pointy head. Like for Thrust from Armada, his pointy head went upwards, like a standard Seeker, like a nose cone dude. But Dread Wings here just goes backwards, which is odd. I did like how his chest opened up, like you spread that open and it revealed extra detail. That was neat. But again, this is a weird to handle toy. Like he feels weird in your hand by, I think it's again proportions wise. But
had a fairly clean jet mode though.
I was going to say the jet mode's really good. I love the shape of the jet. I think paint job wise, it's a really interesting jet mode. He does have a bit of a block underneath of him though, which are just his legs, which aren't very well transformed. But pretty nice jet, to be honest. Yeah, and the missiles look good enough to be jet burner After Effect kind of things. They've got the nice kind of orange transition to just clear plastic. So
I want to say he's supposed to be a MiG-29 or something to that type.
I wouldn't know. He looks cool though. That's why I know.
Yeah,
I think it's a good looking figure.
It's definitely Russian. He's not an F-15 or anything. Or
it's
F-14.
Again, it's just that robot mode that's just very. It's just it's better than Swindle. I'll give it that.
They had this run of trying to do when they were trying to do the non-movie characters of making drone grunts, and some of them are just weird as fuck.
Yeah. So, some of them, which we'll get onto. I think Dropkick, the next one who we talk about, he's a very good one. He's a very good one. Now, in terms of redos, he does actually have 2 redos that I think, color-wise, are better because they're weird. We've got Overcast, which is a black jet with lime green or goblin green or moot green for Warhammer people out there. Added detail, and of course, all spark blue on him, because why not? Fuck not, I suppose. Why not? What do you think of this one, Big D?
Yeah. I've always kind of liked this version over the others.
What makes you like it more?
Mainly because that it's not based on real paint, just get color schemes. So they've just gone a bit nuts.
Whoa, are you saying this isn't stealthy paint scheme? Go on now.
I'm no military expert, but
you've never visited Neon World, I assume, or 90s land.
It just works so nicely, that black with, and the fact that in the jet mode, even that green is not overpowering, but it's offset also by those nice, almost lavender grey sections. I
kind of would have liked those grey bits to be green as well, but I think that's my 90s bias come in, because I don't think it looks bad.
I could go either way, but I do get where you're coming from there.
Yeah.
Or even if they were blue, that same Allspark blue.
Oh, yeah, that could work as well, potentially. Yeah.
But I just like the overall... The other one had a much better real-world colour scheme.
Yes.
This just feels more fun.
Yeah. I will say the other one has the better missiles, because the missiles here are just piss yellow. There's no, like, transition from the heat point to the end of it, like there was for Dreadwings.
Yeah,
Dreadwing? Whatever.
That's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, this is just translucent blob. Yeah, who fucking cares? Which is a shame, but it's not a big deal. And then there's the Revenge of the Fallen Fear Swoop, not a name that's used often. And we have a very ostentatious, very camouflage, like this you'd never see this in the jungle, that's for sure, or the desert.
I'd actually forgotten about this paint job of him, to be fair.
Yeah, he is a very Tropicana orange with tiger stripes on him, which is a nice look. Looks really good in jet mode. Not as good in robot mode, I don't think, but still interesting if you're into this kind of weird, stupid looks for things.
Is a fun look.
Shall I tell you one thing I would have liked them to have added?
Go on.
Jet mode, front of the nose cone, like a happy, like razor sharp smile and an eye. I don't know what design that's called or what planes it was on, but I remember that used to be on some specific planes, and I always thought that was cool.
I think it's technically called Tiger Shark.
Okay. That would be, you knew what I meant though, which is the main thing.
Oh yeah.
I think if they could have added that, I think that would have really like cemented it and just kind of tidied it up. Especially because in jet mode, load of paint detail, and then you get to the front of the nose cone and there's nothing really there. So if you just had that would be kind of fun. I would have liked that.
Yeah.
Music Man says dredging and Dark of the Moon Incinerator should start a Hasbro Took Our Hands club. True. There are a lot. To be fair, there are a lot of movie figures that don't have great hands. Dreadwing and his redecos are MiG 29s apparently. Is that what you said? You said MiG something. I can't remember if you said 29. Yeah, you're right then.
Good old Fulcrum.
Oh, this figure came exclusively from Walmart alongside Legends Sideswipe. Which is a white version. That's okay. Well, fair enough. And it came alongside Legends Mudflap. What a weird fucking set.
Yeah.
Legends Sideswipe and Mudflap, who I don't think interacted from Revenge of the Fallen. And then this jet from the first movie, who's the big one, I guess. That's odd. Okay, well, fair enough. Do you have anything else you want to say about the Dreadwing mold?
Not really. It's probably it's certainly
better than Swindle.
More, yes,
it's better than Swindle.
It's better than Swindle.
Yeah, it's definitely better than Swindle. Next up, a drone that I do think is better than Swindle and the previous one, Dropkick. He's got chicken legs, even though the photo here doesn't really show it. An interesting head design. My biggest complaint, I suppose, is he has a lot of shit on him, and by shit I obviously mean kibble. He's got his his doors for his car mode on his back. That's fine. He's got some part of his truck mode on his back as well. Okay, that's fine. He does have massive shoulder pads. Massive shoulder pads.
He does.
Huge. I always liked his underslung built-in guns, though.
Yeah,
I thought they were
nice
neat.
to see. Yeah.
His nipple window screens, not the best because they just flop. You can literally flip his nipples up and down if you're so inclined, which of course I never did. Of course not. Truck mode, pretty solid. I think that's a good-looking truck mode. The Decepticon insignia tampo on the bonnet of the car, top of the car, kind of works. The problem is, because of the window screen, it takes away a large chunk of the insignia, so I don't think 100% works.
I mean, I think because of how the truck's designed, if you're looking at it straight from the top...
Oh, that's true. That might work better.
It works better that way.
Yeah.
It's cute, though, because it's like, this is the guy who said, here's my disguise mode, guys. They're going, what about that? What about what?
Don't worry about it. Oh, they're cool. Don't worry about it. We need at least one insignia on on ourselves, so it's just all over me. And his back bonnet filler became a giant claw, which the giant claw, although was nice in hand, and you could twist the little nipple to pull it out, and you could twist it so it would open and close, which again was quite nice. It was a bit on the cumbersome side. It had 2 pegs on it.
Yeah.
So you could have him hold it, but it was always kind of off-centered. Little bit
It's always
strange.
weird when they do that, because...
You want it in the center, at least I do.
Yeah,
But I think because of how big it is, if you put it in the center, it would stretch too far across. Because, if you look at his forearms, he's got those, I guess the front of his car panels, which are on those hinge joints. I'm guessing, because I can't remember, I think those would have banged into it, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Probably.
And I'm gonna hazard a guess. Did his hands form the bed of the back section of his alt mode?
That's a good question.
Because I imagine that's how the weapon stayed in place, just plugs into his hands.
Yeah, into both of them, which would also explain why there's 2 ports in the back there. I don't remember, because I do have this one. I did have this one, but I don't remember how he transformed. Not completely. The only thing I really remember is he had chicken legs. That's why I remember.
I mean, at least it does something.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a cool action feature. It pinches. Yeah. That's fun.
Yeah.
Redos of this guy. Oh, the next one's way better. Wish I had this one instead. Salvage. Also a pretty fun name. Salvage done in red, bronzy, goldish color. And then the blue, which the blue doesn't work too well. But that looks pretty good, I think.
It does. I have to say, the tampo on the door of the alt mode is very cute.
Sparkplug and Sam Salvage, yeah. I actually thought he was meant to be a fire truck, just because he's got, like, fire safety kind of color scheme on him. Like, the yellowy...
He does have that vibe, doesn't he?
But he's not. It's weird.
No. It's another one of those all-spark power ones that does kind of work, because, yes, you have the blue, but that caramel color plastic they've used works really nicely.
Yeah.
For the frame.
And it's interesting that in vehicle mode, most of it, you can see a little bit kind of poking out of the bottom and a few bits of the caramel color on the mode. It's mostly just a red truck.
Yeah.
It's hidden pretty well, to be honest, so he kind of pops out and all this extra color appears. That's always nice.
But they've used a nice dark color for the windscreens.
Yes.
So you're not seeing everything inside. It's just a nice... And the thing is, sometimes you don't need lots of deco on the alt mode. You just need it to look nice.
Yeah, you need it on the robot mode to make the robot mode pop, because that's meant to be the interesting thing. The vehicle mode can just look like a normal vehicle sometimes.
Yeah, and I think this is... I mean, I don't think I ever had this one, but I would have liked to have had this deco especially.
The reason I say he's better than Fear Swoop and Swindle is he's in proportion. He was reasonably posable, for this line and, those figures. The only issue he really had was just a lot of kibble. And
Yeah.
you know, I'd rather kibble than weird proportions or just crap. Personally,
Honestly, it doesn't. Although there's a lot of kibble, it doesn't look like it gets into way too much.
no, because the doors are behind the wheels and stuff, so they don't clang into each other. The big wheels are above his arms, so again, it's not restricted. It's just there's a lot there, but it doesn't interfere really at all, from what I remember. So like that's not too bad. And then there was Revenge of the Fallen blowpipe, which I love the head. I think the head's really good. The
head's giving me big animated Soundwave vibes.
I kind of see that. Yeah, I kind of see that. I think my problem with this is it's inherently blue, and the first version of the mold's it's not blue. It's kind of a purpley blue, but it's too close to that hue for me. This one's just blue and grey, and that's it.
The first one did it better.
Yeah, I think the head sculpt looks nicer. I like the way they painted the head sculpt on Blowpipe more, because they painted the eyes red and they gave him the silver mouth. So I think the head's better here, but overall it's just like, especially when you look at the vehicle mode, you change that hood to Decepticon insignia, and you really wouldn't see much difference between the two of them, apart from the shade. So it's I think Salvage is clearly the interesting one out of the three of these. XL Hedge says Fear Swoop equals hooligan wannabe. Yeah, pretty much. But you'd prefer, it's better that he's called Fear Swoop than hooligan, because otherwise you'd be annoyed that he didn't get a real figure and he got a NAF repaint. Well, not a NAF repaint, but a basic repaint. Another good one, another drone character, Long Arm. Except he's an Autobot drone character. Long Arm again was really good.
This one took me a while to pick up, actually.
Yeah, this one's good, but if I remember, and you can correct me because you had this, you couldn't remove his weapon, could you? It was pinned into him. Yes, okay, good.
It was a tad awkward.
Yes, because it was a what would you call it? A crane.
Yeah.
Hoist. It was a big bear kit.
And a bit of a shame, because it's actually although he's got the same open hand syndrome as a lot of movie characters does, otherwise he actually makes quite a nice G1 aesthetic character. Yeah,
he's not aggressively movie, because they didn't make the head design like really weird and insect-like. He just looks like a more modern G1 robot head design, potentially.
Yeah.
It's a good one. It's a nice one. It's painted well. And the robot mode, again, like you say, is pretty nice. The bit of a kibble on the shoulders, but that's just parts folded up. Big feet, which are the front of the car, but the big feet are like, he's nice and stable. It's just that stupid gun. It's just, let me remove it, Hasbro.
Yeah.
Let me take it out. And he transforms into Orson's Towing, which again, a nice reference to Orson Welles, obviously. And the alt mode's pretty nice. It's quite clean on the inside of the truck mode. I'm not a big fan of when it's translucent window screens and it's not colored, it's not tinted, it's just completely see-through. It looks a bit weird. I'm pretty sure those lights could sit flush on the roof though, right?
Yeah.
I remember
them
doing that.
Because of how it's hinged. You should be able to do that, yeah.
I'm guessing they just didn't for the photo for whatever reason. But I like this figure. I remember him feeling really good in hand as well, apart from the gun. Would you agree with that, Big D?
I'd say so. It took, like I say, I didn't end up getting him till maybe 2012-ish, I think.
Okay.
I might have picked him up at a convention I went to. And it wasn't really any reason why I hadn't got him before that. It was just I hadn't found the price I wanted him for.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Sometimes it'd just be like that, doesn't it? It's just like, Yeah.
But quite a nice, fun character to mess around with.
Yeah. One of the better drone characters again, as I say. Now, redos. We have him into Movie Hoist, which, a bit boring, I suppose, but logical, I suppose.
Yeah. for quite a long time, that was the only hoist you could buy if you wanted the G1 character.
That's true. If you wanted an update,
Yeah.
I will say I don't like the color choices on him. They've used 2 different greens, which makes sense because they're trying to mix it up a bit. The yellow, I don't like. I don't think the yellow meshes well, and then it's just the flat gray plastic.
It's not a great take, is it?
Like you get what they're doing. They're making him hoist, and yes, he's green. Yes, he's got the yellow bits on him. I just don't think it work well together here.
They've tried to tone it down to fit the movie vibe, and that's made it quite.
That might be it. Yeah, that might be it. It's not bright and poppy, is it? Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame. It's the vehicle mode. I think the vehicle mode that looks like hoist. If you told me that, if you said, "Who do you think this is?" I'd be like, "Yeah, that's hoist easily." So they've nailed that. The robot mode, not so much. I don't think.
Yeah. Interestingly, it came with a character who I don't know if we're going to be touching on him today or next week or not. But I remember listening to the Fluff and Hammer.
Yeah. This is Revenge of the Fallen figure, so we're not talking about this one.
Yeah. But this is one of George's least favorite figures that Hoist came with.
I mean, if you just look at the figure, you just look at it in robot mode, you're like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not talking about that one for a few weeks at least. Then they did Revenge of the Fallen Long Arm, which is a re-release. So you might not have the original version of this figure, Big D.
That's a good point, because I didn't buy it new. It was secondhand.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, they look the same.
There's no difference, is there?
Oh, that's a lie. Vehicle mode's different. He's got smudge on him.
The roof's different.
And on the bonnet of the car and at the back of the back of the wheel, they've got smudging on him.
Oh, interesting.
It's not noticeable really in the robot mode at all. Is the robot mode different? No, the robot mode just generally looks the same. But yeah, if you want to tell the difference, I guess, how much smudge does he have? Does he have a lot of smudge or no smudge? Huh.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought that. And then there was Movie Screen Battle Long Arm. This one looks exactly the same, but it's not. What's different on this one, Big D?
This one has different details on the alt mode.
It does. This is Mike's towing, not Orson's towing.
Yeah.
It's got some other bits as well, but that's the most noticeable bit. Yeah. That's so there are three versions of this figure which look pretty much identical, but they're very slightly different. What a weird thing to do.
And it's only in the alt mode. That's really weird.
Yeah, as far as we can tell, maybe there is something that we're missing from these pictures of the robot mode, but I can't see it.
I can't see anything. There might be a slightly different paint on the weapon arm for one, but I could just be how they got it.
Maybe the orange bits on the knees are slightly different hue of orange, maybe? I don't know.
But I doubt you'd notice.
It's really weird, though, to be like, yes, it's a quote-unquote repaint, because it is. It is a repaint. Yeah. Well, it's a retampo, I suppose, more than a repaint. Well, the smudge one has paint on him. But what a weird thing to do, to release a figure 3 times and only have it different very slightly.
This version is quite fun, though, because this is the version that replicates the scene from the first one where Michaela jumps in the truck and pulls B along because his legs have been taken out.
That's right. Yes, and you get that figure. You get crippled B with this version if you really inclined, which is it's funny. It doesn't transform, but it is B with a giant hand and a gun and no legs. Oh I can't wait to get that. So what a weird thing. All right, well there you go. Long arm, good figure.
Yeah.
No matter which version you have, I suppose. Next up, we've got Incinerator, which I've never had, and is a Voyager, Big D? Question mark?
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
Hang on, mine did. I should open that page. It didn't open for me originally.
No.
Incinerator is a funny one because it's one I never got into picking up myself, but they just needed one change, and this figure could have been absolutely brilliant.
All right, what's wrong with him? Because I've never had him. Is it that he has no hands?
It's the fact that he has no hands, which they could have solved if they just put some bloody hinges in the rotor blades, so they could twist.
Oh, be
upwards,
fingers.
form fingers.
Yeah.
Especially because each of the rotor assemblies spins. They've got push spin action. If you make it so it turns into fisties, then he can be blending people, and it's
Is the
Otherwise, it's just
idea
awkward.
that if they were on hinges and you were spinning them around, they could flop downwards? Maybe.
Not if you've got the hinge set so it doesn't go beyond.
Yeah, that's It
Just
does seem like a weird
90-degree
choice. It's a weird choice to not have them just be like. I mean, we've already got Transformers in the movie line already that have weird fucking hands. So why not give him some little touchy hands where he can pick things up?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. I think it's a case of. I mean, he's a mold that's pretty much unique.
Yes.
They did nothing else with him.
Oh, did they not?
No.
Oh no, they didn't. Oh my god.
It's
Not even a
kind of
repaint.
shame because- yeah, it's just a bit of a shame because an Osprey's always a bit of a novelty in a transform when really it shouldn't be.
Yeah, they're cool jet. They're really cool vehicles. They look good.
Yeah,
I think
they've been a bit of a near future war concept for decades at this point, but Transformers only tackled it maybe 2 or 3 times in a couple of Megatrons using that same orientation, but for a different type of chopper.
Yeah, it's like Obsidian, right?
Yeah,
And that's only been done a few times as well.
it's a shame because I've always liked how this one looked, even if I never had him. But I just thought he just needed fingies. Fingies would have helped.
Yeah.
An awful lot.
I would have liked to have seen a recolor. I think, obviously, they've gone for the quote-unquote real world version, but then added the Allspark Blue, which is really aggressive in the robot mode, to be fair. There's a lot of Allspark Blue in that.
Yeah.
I know a different color, like something a bit more flamboyant, I think I would have liked to have seen. But in terms of the vehicle mode looks, I think, really good. Like, legitimately, it looks...
Absolutely,
It looks good. My issue from obviously not owning it is you can see his shoulder joints in vehicle mode. It really doesn't help that they're bright blue, so they really shine. But yeah, it still looks like a solid vehicle mode. The robot mode looks encumbered by the fact that he has no hands, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that's an obvious downside, that he has no hands. And the rotor blade, like if the rotor blades were just something you could hold as weapons and he actually had like full forearms and full proper hands, I think that would be quite nice. Can't really tell what's going on with the legs in the singular image. Were they very posable? Did parts clatter?
I can't remember, to be honest.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I always thought it looked really nice and quite solid. But, because basically the nose assembly that became the legs? I think so.
Yes, looks like it. Yeah, well, his feet look like... his feet are definitely the bottom half of the cockpit. Definitely that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy, I suppose. Pretty interesting.
I mean, that's the thing, interesting. It's one of those ones I always wish I'd managed to pick up.
Just weird that it was never used. It was just, like you say, used once and then never again.
Yeah, it's such an odd one because almost every other unique mold, original mold, I should say, got a repaint, but not this one.
Yeah, he didn't even get weird tampos like Long Arm.
Yeah, weird.
Very odd. Next up is the Cowman himself, Ironhide, who I never liked. As soon as I got him, I didn't like him because of his stupid springs and his pissing shoulders. I hated that. And they never looked accurate to the screen. So they'd spring upwards and point to the heavens, and that was not how they were meant to look. He also had automorph in his legs, sort of. He was just, again... a lot of gimmick in him that didn't make him desperately fun to play with. I liked how his guns worked, that you could combine them together. That was quite nice.
Yeah,
And I didn't like the fact that his chest panel, or his chest, whatever the hell that is, had that little flap that kind of filled in the gap between the two shoulder pads, so he had something that ran from his chest to his, I guess, his neck. I always thought that was a bit weird as well.
Yeah, they never really solved that until they got him up to a leader class.
Yeah. That wasn't for a while, right?
That was Dark of the Moon where they did him, and
That's what I was
then
thinking.
you get
Yeah,
the whole then you get the scale situation where it's like he's
massive.
big.
He's huge,
Yeah.
huge.
It's lovely, but it just doesn't fit.
Mm.
And it's frustrating, this one, because I'm sure I have at least one version of this high.
Oh, you must have.
Yeah, and the arms are actually pretty stable.
Sure.
You get a nice range of posability out of the legs for what there is.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it would help if he had ankle joints, but that's not the era that we lived in.
But then you get to the situation where, that his shoulders and the bits of his car mode,
yeah,
were always so difficult to make stay in place.
Because they'd always go up at that angle.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. And the chest piece had a habit of coming loose.
Yep.
And the spring-loaded bits in the legs could be a bit of a pain as well.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because this is so close, and they never quite got it right until they moved up that size point.
I think that's just why he needed to be, right? He just needed a bigger budget to get him to work better, I suppose.
Yeah.
Truck mode's fine, though. It's okay. It's very panely, obviously, in the back, where the panels for his feet and leg gimmick stuff just don't sit desperately flat, unfortunately.
Yeah.
He's
the plastic they used, I think, on that one, because I think it was a softer plastic.
I don't think it was softer, was it? I thought it was all hard plastic.
There was something about those bits I remember where No, it wasn't very softer. It's because of how they had to flex to make the movement. It could take them out of alignment very easily. Okay.
In terms of redos, he got the off-road Ironhide colors, where he's mainly like a dark blue. It's okay. Lots of gray, which it's always fun to see. Flat gray and painted plastic. The Allspark blue, and then a couple of bits of yellow to pop on him. It's fine. It's not desperately exciting. Then there's the premium edition where they've made his eyes super blue. Oh, in the images here, they've got his shoulders flat. Good for them. But even with his shoulders flat, they look weird now. Like proportionally, looks odd.
Yeah.
Like it looks like he's got really, really long arms. They've added bits of paint and highlight stuff, but again, never to the point where it's like really worth picking up the figure again. I do like the fact the Autobot insignia is tampoed on the front. That's quite nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
A few bits of picked down silver, which again, that's okay. Revenge of the Fallen, Ironhide. They went, hey, what if he was grey? It's like, oh.
Yeah, I think this is a version I have, because it had the really absurd weapons.
I was going to say, I like those weapons. They're really stupid.
Oh, yeah, they're great, but they are just incredibly stupid. They're fun, but so stupid. It's great.
Otherwise, I don't have much an opinion on the paint job, because it's just grey. It's boring, at least in my eyes. I think the head sculpt looks really bad, though. There's like next to no paint on that head sculpt.
No, there really isn't.
It looks like he has a really weak, tiny blonde mustache.
I mean, the best thing says that the alt mode means that he fits in nicely alongside Armorhide.
Because he's just grey. That's true.
Yeah.
That's a fair point. He also got... Oh, this mold was also used 3 years later from the original release as Revenge of the Fallen, Recon Ironhide. What's the difference? Oh, okay, so robot mode, not much to write home about. Mostly black, and then a bit of extra silver. Robot mode, clearly it's been remolded as well, because it's got like extra bull bars on the front and not roll cage or anything like that, but extra roll bits on the back. And it looks like some pieces have been made to look like they're armored up. And then it's either meant to be lightning effect or some kind of weird camo that looks again like chocolate sauce, but with metal chocolate sauce, which I don't think works super well.
I mean, I do dig how this one's got the added bars, so because the weapons it comes with all have that 3mm clip system going
Yes,
on.
yeah.
So that's nice.
Yes, and this one did come with a lot of extra parts. It came with the grill/shield, a large gun, a small gun, a knife number 2, a cannon, a launcher, and a missile. So, okay, you were getting the same figure from 3 years ago, but it's been a little bit remolded, and then he has a crap ton of stuff with him. So it's like, okay.
Yeah, and in fairness, at this point, those 3mm weapons would have been real useful if you had any other generation figures for this period. But they did push that, probably not as much as they could have done, but it was around quite a lot of the figures. They made it a feature.
It is weird to like think back of that time period and be like, they really did push that C-clip, like you say, a lot.
Yeah.
And then just went, done, never again. It's like, oh, okay. I always thought the clip system was a little bit cumbersome. It looked a little bit awkward in some places, but it was interesting enough.
Yeah. Was it perfect? No. Was it fun? Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. It was nice how you could combine all these weapons together. So Ironhide, although, again, like I say, was a not great mold, he looked fairly impressive with all of his shit on him. So that's neat. And then that mold as well was used for Hunt for the Decepticons, Fury of Bone Crusher. Ooh, he's angry. Very angry. But this version of Ironhide is grey for his vehicle mode primarily, which is a bit boring. And then in I would say that's brass, a brassy kind of color.
I think so, yeah.
Which is, again, interesting. It is the mold that we just looked at. But he's got mud come all over like his wheels and stuff, which looks, again, quite nice. I think the bluish color that they mostly caked him in is a little bit on the drab, dull side, but yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah. It works for what it is, yeah.
Simon Tang asks, what size was this Ironhide? This was the Voyager Ironhide.
Yeah.
XL Hedge says it was the C-clips and automorphs of this time period, certainly, yeah. And Simon Tang says, is this the leader size with the electronics? No. That's not this one. This was just the Voyager, that one. That was all the Ironhides, at least from this mold. So that's it's not a great mold. Now, is this a better or worse mold? The Autobot Ratchet mold. I think it's maybe better, but not massively because he had gorilla arm effect a little bit.
He may have had gorilla arms, but now I didn't have him, but he looks like he was more stable, more solid.
He's got very big, thick, chunky legs. Very big, thick, and chunky. You can see like on his forearms, like they fold out to make these fans. I mean, how else would you describe that? Because if you look in the figure, on the right hand side, that's it. Like that green bit. On the left hand side is what that bit folds out into. For some reason, what's it say on here?
I can't think of anything else, any other way to describe that.
On the site, it does not describe what this is meant to be. So it's either a fan or it's meant to be like a tricorder. But when Sam's in heat and he wants to have sex with Michaela, and he's like, I want to mate with the female. Yeah, thanks, dude. No riz. Loads of screws visible for the shoulders, which is not great. He has no thigh gap, which is obviously a very important thing. It's not. No one cares about that. It's just a very kind of like, I want to say just flat, boring, standard figure. You know?
Yeah.
He's not exciting. He doesn't get my juices pouring.
I mean, the most interesting thing you say that it was a surprise that he was green.
I was mildly insulted because I was like, vehicles don't look like that. That's stupid. Who has a green emergency vehicle? You're dumb.
Yeah.
It's white.
And then we learned that America's a real place.
Yeah, silly place. Shouldn't go there. Sing about Camelot there, I bet. He has a really awkward weapon. He has the claw roof thing, which...
Yeah. That's so silly.
It feels like an afterthought. What do we do with this? Pull it off, split it in half, and it could be like a scissors or something. It's like, yeah, all right, that'll do, won't it? That's fine.
Yeah, it's not great.
I do remember looking at this figure that if you look at in the robot mode, the back of his head, you can see that black panel, that black bar going behind his head. I'm pretty sure all he did to hide the head was there was a hollow black piece which he just kind of flipped over the top of his head, to hide his face.
I mean, looking at it, yeah, that tracks. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how that worked. So in terms of redos, there was the premium edition version, which was, well, bits of it are the same, and then bits of it are metallic-y olive greenish kind of color, but not all of it. Only random bits of it. And that's about it, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. I can't really tell any other real differences. It's just got this metallic olive.
Here's the thing. On all the other premiums, at least for paint apps, looks a lot nicer.
Mostly, yeah.
This for paint doesn't look any... If anything, the metallic on the head makes it look worse than the standard version.
Does the metallic on the head look darker than any of the other metallic green? Like if you look at like his legs, his shins, for example, or his shoulders, the head looks darker than those pieces, I feel.
It does a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah. Again, it could be a trick of the photo. That could be a thing, but
possibly.
Yeah. If this is not it's not an upgrade. This is again just like but why would I? It's not that much better. There was the movie, the G1 colored Ratchet, which is, he's white and red. I like the tampos on his shoulders. That's quite nice.
I'm amazed they got away with that without.
Well, it's not technically a cross because it's a little different shaped. Yeah. It's like, Yeah. I wonder if they could go, it's 20% different, mate. Chill your tits. Maybe that was it. I do think the ambulance mode looks a lot nicer. I like that it says ambulance on the in red on the bonnet and then white on the door frame or the side of the door. I think that looks quite nice.
That looks a lot more like a rescue vehicle.
It's almost like he should have been this color all along. Who knew?
What are the odds?
What are the odds? Simon says, wow, you can't see the face on Ironhide. Yeah, no, he wasn't. Yeah, that one had no paint on him apart from his little blonde mustache. But yeah, this Ratchet, it's better looking. Then there's Revenge of the Fallen Desert Tracker, which is going to be in orange, right? No, he's in green again.
This looks barely any different to the other one.
It is a little different if you go between the two of them. This one's a little darker. They've actually painted the mouth part grey instead of just, I guess, the nose part grey, as they did before.
They swapped a lot for black plastic for dark grey as well, haven't they?
Yeah. So again, I wouldn't say this is a massive upgrade.
No, I'd probably say this does feel a little nicer in its application of colour than the others.
It makes it feel more quote unquote real, I think, right? Just because the green's a little bit dulled down and the grey is not as aggressive. And they've taken out more of the orange, it seems, as well. One bad thing is in vehicle mode, the little beep, 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 the line doesn't go all the way across the vehicle. It stops at where his legs are, or his shins.
And they've written fire department instead, which,
it wasn't.
Given this is supposed to, and also the desert muck effect is only on part of one door and doesn't go over the front fairing.
I hadn't even noticed the dirt. You're quite right though.
I went back to double check to see if there was any detailing like that on there, and it's like, oh, there is, but it starts on the door, but not on the part of the wheel housing where it should start.
I think I read it as like it was like color bleed over from the cloth material it was on, but it's literally just on the corner of the door for some reason. Also, fire department in the desert, that seems weird. What can you set fire to in the desert? Not a lot.
I'd rather have had that heartbeat logo continue along, to be honest.
Yeah, if it's just left it. I guess he died. It's not a very good emergency vehicle if you see that. Also, why does a fire department vehicle have like a beep, beep, beep tampon on the side of it? That's weird.
Oh, it's because in America, for fire departments, also they're paramedics.
Oh, God. That's a lot of work. Okay, so there's Hunt for the Decepticon Night Ops Ratchet, which is where he was murdered, but was not in this color scheme. Where he's mostly in black, and then snot green in places. And then he's got moot green. So he's got two different kinds of green on him, it seems. They have the beep continuing mostly this time. I like the vehicle mode. I think that's quite nice. Why is the Autobot insignia in vehicle mode green, and yet in robot mode it is red?
That's a very good point.
It's weird to see. Once you've seen it, you're like, hang on. Oh, because he's in disguise, obviously. It's like, then why would he have the insignia on the side of his vehicle mode?
Do you think two different people did the deco, and first one went home?
Let me give you an extreme version of this where it would be weird. Okay, you see a German fighter Nazi plane in World War II. The symbol is colored yellow instead of black or red, and you go, oh well, that can't be a Nazi. That can't be a World War. That can't be the Red Baron. Oh, the Red Baron's jet's colored yellow. That can't be him. No, that was World War I. The Red Baron, wasn't it? Was that World War?
I didn't want to point at you. You were in full flow. It felt rude.
But you know what? Yeah, I picked it up. But it's like, you know what I mean? It's like you just wouldn't advertise yourself like that if you were trying to be in disguise.
There's a lack of consistency in his branding here.
If there is, you compared this Night Ops version to the Black Bumblebee. The Black Bumblebee is just better. Black and this kind of snot green, I don't think work desperately well in this pattern. Don't know about you.
I mean, I like the green on the black, just not for Ratchet. If this wasn't Ratchet, this would be I'd be happy with this, but it's. I do like the vibrancy of that snot green.
I'll rephrase. I like it on the vehicle. I think the vehicle looks nice. I don't think it transfers over to the robot mode.
No, the robot is much less acceptable.
Yeah. What did he say? Simon Tang says, I did not buy most of the movie toys. The robot faces really turned me off. Yeah.
I can understand that.
I bought these because I got excited for the movie. I just bought them and didn't think because I was young and fancy free. Big D's never been like that. Big D's always been very responsible to not buy anything crazy, right? Close your eyes. Don't look around your room, Big D. Don't look at anything.
The Space Wars aren't having their full release next week. No, certainly not.
Oh, is it next week for them, is it? I didn't actually check out the previews for today. What is it? Just that next week?
Space Wolves.
Is Cathay next week?
Well, Cathay went up for pre-order this weekend.
Oh,
so
okay.
In 2 weeks.
Okay.
So this weekend, next weekend is all the Space Wolves apart from the Combat Patrol box.
Mm.
Which is a shame because I actually want to get at least 2 of those. Great value.
Not for your bank account, it's not great value.
No, it's not. The Last of the Dawn of Fire books in its limited edition and standard editions goes up.
Mm.
And a bunch of books in paperback.
Damn, not much then.
So, going for new drop pods, the new drop pod 2-pack.
Lame. XL Hedge says, in desert houses, you set fire to houses, Andy. No, I don't. You can't prove anything. Oh, I think he's just making a statement. You set fire to houses. I don't think he's accusing me of setting fire to houses in the desert. I hope.
I was going to say, you want to make a note of that, because I'm sure that's actionable, that is.
Maybe. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been out of the country or to any sort of desert, but, you know. You're quite right. There are houses in the desert which you can burn. Arizona is a hellish wasteland, And yet there are houses that will set nicely ablaze there without much effort, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Arizona's warm.
yeah.
So is Vegas. Vegas is like a nightmare landscape as well.
Yeah, but
Too
Vegas
warm.
is weird. It only exists because they needed somewhere for the workers to blow steam when they were building Hoover Dam.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's weird
It's
how it worked
fascinating,
out.
but Vegas should not exist by every metric of why a city should exist.
You should go there in a
should.
straitjacket and just run around screaming you shouldn't exist. You'd not be taken away. It'd all be very normal for Vegas, I'm sure. Blackout is the last figure I guess we're doing today, looking at the list, it seems like. Is that right, Big D, or did I click off one?
Blackout's last one. I think it's a good spot to call things a day.
Yeah, so Blackout. I remember getting this figure and looking at his face and being like, what have they done to his face?
They did have issues with his face, didn't they?
Yeah, because they've tried to paint it like he has all of the moving details and stuff, and I don't know how they've done it. It's almost like they've used a contrast metal paint to go into the grooves and leave the highlighted the raised areas unpainted. But from a distance, I remember always thinking his face looked messy because it's not a big head; it's a reasonably small head.
No. Yeah, it is quite a small head with a lot of detail that gets washed out very easily.
Yeah, Blackout's not a terrible Voyager for this line, I suppose, but he is in the wrong color. He is for some reason in a bluish gray instead of being gray, which in itself is weird.
Yeah.
Proportionally, he doesn't really look like he should. I was never a big fan of how his shoulders, I mean, it's not even done in this fucking image that we're using. His shoulders are meant to peg into the side of his helicopter mode, like these big flat panels just blob into the side of the front of the helicopter. I don't know why they haven't done it here for the robot image, but it never looked good just because flat panel versus or connecting onto a curved panel, even if it's reasonably curved. Looked a bit on the weird side. His forearms being cut in down the middle effectively, and one half being the gray and one half being black. A bit on the strange side. He has movable hip skirts, but I don't really know why. Nice. I don't think skirts were really that necessary to do.
No.
And then his back panel helicopter part, which was quite cumbersome, which also housed a cage for Scorponok, who was a really ugly little fuck. Do they have an image of it?
Yep.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, the Scorponok figure was a real ugly little piece of shit. They should have cast it in just metallic grey and just not painted it. Instead, they've cast it in flat Hasbro grey and then giving it the same weird sort of wash to it that they gave his face, but only down the center and on his tail.
Yeah, it's not a great look.
No, a kind of cute, fun accessory, but again, when Blackout's trying to do his helicopter propeller blade attack thingy, because of the size of it, it makes it incredibly cumbersome. Both in terms of length, because it runs most of the length of the helicopter mode, and in terms of just like weight, because there's just so much to it.
Yeah,
he did obviously have a gimmick where you push a button in the back and the helicopter blades span around. Obviously, why wouldn't it? What did you think of this figure, Big D? Did you like the Blackout and the Scorponok?
I always thought he just looked ugly as sin.
Wow, mean.
I'm sorry,
true,
dude.
but mean.
I could never bring myself to pick him up.
Do you mean, when you say ugly as sin, do you mean just like the Blackout design, or do you mean specifically this toy, do you think?
This toy, because I actually quite like Blackout's design from the movies.
Yeah.
It's a really neat design. And honestly, that opening scene of TF07 is still kind of iconic. In part because of the presence of this character. This is just not a great representation of him. I mean, I think most of it comes down to the fact that they've had to incorporate that big spinning blade gimmick.
And the Scorponok cage as well. Don't forget that, because that's a big chunk of that thing as well. But you're not wrong. That big gimmick thing it's huge. It's, it's taller than the figure itself.
Yeah. If not for that, if they've been able to incorporate, because of that, that's a whole chunk of the copter they can't play with. Now, sometimes it's not a bad thing to not have to worry about hiding some kibble, but in this case, that means they've only got like half the mass of a helicopter to play with.
Yeah.
Of the rope, and that's a big switch up in trying to make it work. So,
and he's quite gappy as well, because the helicopter part, the rotary blades, doesn't sit super flush in vehicle mode. You can see that there's gap where the windows are at the back. I'm pretty sure there are some gaps up at the front as well. It's a bit of it's a rough go, I would say. Excel Hedge says, I'm definitely not avoiding my local comic store to not buy Star Convoy. When are you buying Star Convoy, Big D? You bought him? You got him yet?
Ooh, I'm tempted to cancel my pre-order of him.
Why?
I mean, I watched a decent review of it today, but overall, that much for a Titan who's not actually the same size as he's kind of halfway between a Commander and a Titan. And by all accounts, the plastic feels quite sub-premium.
Oh, did they say that in the video?
Oh yeah, this review was actually quite positive about the figure overall.
Yeah.
But they pointed out that the plastic feels quite light.
Oh, that's interesting.
Now, which, given how the joints on it are quite solid, quite strong ratchets, they did say that feels a little weird.
Okay.
And there's odd things like the gun post doesn't go all the way through the hands.
Oh.
So it's like a half post.
That's weird.
And yeah, but there's a lot of stuff about it that just feels like it should be more premium than it is.
I was put off because I didn't expect a response, but I asked a dude on Twitter, like, so how similar of a transformation is it to the original one? Because the original one's really basic. And I can only imagine that the only real big difference is how the legs transform. Because obviously the legs in the original one didn't do shit. Because it was a big rotor gimmick.
There's no motors, and yet somehow there's still the full truck mode. There's no hitch between the trailer and the cab.
I see the excuse would be, well, there wasn't on the original version either. It's like, yeah, but that's no excuse.
Yeah, that's a shit excuse.
For 150 quid, shall we? Pull your finger out, mate. Go swivel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, I like if it was like £60, I'd be like, yeah, okay. I'd buy it for £60. 150.
It's what I might keep an eye out for. Yeah. See if it drops.
Because you can get you can either buy now or you can pre-order Scorponok, the Titans Return one, because it's back up for pre-order, and it's like, well, that one's 170, 180, or you could get the Star Convoy. It's like,
Omega Supreme's back up as well.
A lot of them seem to go back up again for some weird reason, right? At this point,
the thing is, Omega Supreme and Scorponok are two that I actually do want both of them, because I never got any of the Omega Supreme. Him or the repaint, and I have Black Zarek, but I like Scorponok.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Although part of me is thinking, if I wait, surely Hasbro will do IDW versions of Fort Max and Scorponok at a normal scale. Or at least that's my hope.
You'd imagine so. For the Stadia Series comic edition stuff, you'd think so.
Yeah.
Well, one day, who knows how often they're going to dip into the comic stuff, I suppose. But back on to Blackout, in terms of redos, he had a Lawson's Blackout, 4500X. I'm not going to search for that, can't be bothered. There's the premium Blackout figure, and he is bluer than the previous one. I think it looks better, but it's still not correct. Is what I would say. Still not right.
Yeah.
I will say Scorponok looks better, but that's not a huge bar. Not correctly colored because they've given him, instead of bronze claws, they've given him gold detailing for some reason. Which, is not what he should have, really, but there you go. There's the Revenge of the Fallen Grindor, quality name. What is he? He is a very light gray. I thought he was white, but he's not. He's a very, very light gray color and black. It's quite a nice color scheme, I suppose.
Yeah, I'd actually forgotten he was a character, to be honest.
I remembered the name, but I didn't remember that he had his own unique color scheme, to be honest. Because apparently this was the guy who was fighting Prime in the forest battle, I remember. Megatron, Starscream, and quote-unquote Grindor. He was just Blackout, let's be honest. Not excited. Okay, so the exciting one, arguably, which is the redo, is Evac. Which I think doesn't look too bad, actually. He's got a new head. He's bright orange. He's got bright Allspark blue on him and white. Rescue helicopter kind of guy. I think this one looks pretty good. Obviously, he's got encumbered by the massive helicopter gimmicky stuff, but for a rescue helicopter,
works. Yeah.
He doesn't come with a Scorponok though, because it would have been funny. He comes with a life raft. One of those life rafts that pops into almost a little tent, and at the back of the little tent, it's got a gun.
Oh yes, one of those life rafts we had to try and assemble and then climb into at school.
Is that what they were? I thought they just unfolded and fluffed up.
This is probably because I went to school next to military bases for most of my life.
Okay.
So they actually, when we went swimming, they got us to. They inflated one of the big survival rafts.
See, I thought you were going to say because it was in 1942 and they were preparing us for war. It was time. It's just fun that it's a life raft with a gun on it. It's got a gun.
It's a van to turn it into a gun. You basically flip the post up and flip the raft upside down, and he holds it as a gun.
Yeah,
it's hilarious to me.
Well, I pretend that the raft just has a gun on the back of it because it looks like a small turret.
If you look at the next one on World, they show you it has two gun barrels underneath the raft,
it can be used as an actual gun as well for evac.
Even more hilarious.
That's pretty good. Also evac has hands. That's something to note. Yes. Blackout didn't have hands. He had weird pinchy claw hands. This guy has real hands, so he can hold the gun that Big D mentioned. What do you think of evac? Do you think this is a nice redo? I think it is.
I think it is.
Yeah. And because he's not Blackout, I don't mind him not being amazing. He's still not an amazing toy, but
But he works as a version of this particular character.
Yeah. Oh, Will has a different head as well. I thought it would just be the same head, but no, the head's different here. I'd say the color scheme is a bit of a drop here because it's just blue and light blue, and it's like, all right, it's not interesting. And doesn't seem like it has anything else going on with it.
I think he is actually based on proper rescue chopper colors, though.
Probably.
That yellow on the tail.
I thought, you mean American ones? Because I thought our rescue helicopters were all like bright orange. Mostly.
Yeah, ours tend to be. I think that's some Coast Guard colors.
Nah, that might be what I'm thinking of. So. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say Will, for me, visually, is as interesting as evac.
No.
I don't think.
It certainly does, it does read as Will, though, and especially in robot mode when you get a lot more of that lighter blue coming into play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for a while, this was actually my Will, because I got him in the 2-pack with Bludgeon.
Oh, right, okay.
And just because there wasn't another Will available.
There's no choice. This is what you get for the longest time.
Yeah.
Mr. White says, movie Blackout was such a menacing character and his toy looked really weak. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
XL Hedge says, Studio Series Blackout / Grindor needs a reissue. I'll take your word for it. And Simon Tank says, wow, I wonder how much would a toy like Blackout would cost in today's term. Well, this one, it would just be a Voyager. If we're talking about a bigger one, I think we've had leader class Blackout, so it'd be whatever they are.
Didn't they do them in Studio Series as a leader?
Oh, I'm sure they did.
that was reasonably well regarded. I think that figure. So
I think so.
yeah.
Simon says there is an Autobot version of a rescue helicopter. Yeah, it's the evac one, and this world as well is Autobot one. Axel Hedge says, I wish for a Commander class Blackout.
Jesus.
I don't think you're gonna get it, to be honest. I don't think that's gonna happen. It could happen. Who knows? In this day and age, anything could happen.
It's nice to dream. I mean, a Commander class of like Blackout or Lugnut,
yeah,
would be kind of a bit of a dream. But
Lugnut would be more interesting than Blackout, because Blackout's, if we're talking about just movie Blackout, I feel like he's had enough stuff recently. If we're talking about animated Blackout, that would be interesting to see, because he didn't get like a good release, only in Japan, so that'd be something. But that's where we'll close up the show for today. I think we've gone on for nearly 3 hours. Sweet Jesus, that's longer than I thought.
Hey, we got through it though.
We did.
Good chunk of stuff. So nice one.
Where can people find you on the internet, Big G?
Oh, I am everywhere on all the socials as David Kelly. Looking either this image or a picture of Cup. I'm an occasional contributor to UKAnime.net, and I am one of Mr. Gruff's assistants on the Fluff and Hammer now. With him, we record the deeper dives, where you sometimes join us when we yammer about something. And with Mr. White, we do the Fluff and Busters show.
Yay!
We've actually just recorded 2 shows. One with Mr. White, where we did Conan the Barbarian, the 80s one. And then with Mr. Gruff, this week, we did Event Horizon, which has caused him to go off on a writing thing because it made him want to write about Event Horizon.
Yes, we talked about that on Fluff and Hammer, that you should just do it, just write a book.
Yeah,
why not?
But his Sunday musings was excellent. So
is that it?
That's me.
That's it. All right, cool. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube as Decayed Andy, on the Moonbase 2 podcast, Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast, obviously. Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Libsyn, ccbunker.weebly.com. If you want to join us on a Sunday for a live show, you can join us here on YouTube and on Twitch at usually 9:30 in the evening times, goobly floobles like that. I think that's it. I think that's all the stuff that I usually mention. So thank you all. I don't know what we'll be doing next week. I presume there will not be news next week.
Well, there is a reveal show on Tuesday.
Fuck off, is there? We just had a reveal show. We had that last week. There's another one?
Sure there is. I'm sure it was posted up on the socials.
Oh my god. Okay, let's have a quick check. I want to know. Transformers. What is it, a Transformers stream or is it a convention?
It's a Transformers stream.
Does anybody know in chat? Is Big D lying? Is he a big liar or is he a big truth teller? Because I'm happy if there's news to talk about. I'd be very happy.
Sure.
Oh, there it is. Hasbro Transformers fan stream announced for the 24th of June.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Well, not Tuesday. Tomorrow, technically, it's not. Okay, so maybe they'll actually show some stuff that they haven't had all revealed already.
I mean, I've seen some people
breath.
posting up leaks of what should be revealed, but no actual images have gone up of what is actually been revealed. So.
Do you think they'll show off Studio Series Megatron, because they didn't show it off last week, or the week before, I should say, even though everybody had fucking seen it already?
I mean, I've already pre-ordered it off HLJ at this point. So.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll just do that. They'll just show off what it looks like and be like, there you go, it's a thing.
I'm actually surprised they haven't done that yet. So.
Yeah, I thought it was weird that it wasn't done, but
that's got to be in there, probably. Maybe Onslaught. Shown off.
Again, if it's all stuff that hasn't been shown, I'll be very impressed, because Hasbro's really bad at the moment for keeping their Transformers stuff under wraps. Pretty bleak.
Yeah, it kind of sucks for the guys doing it as well, because.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I can't imagine how bummed out you are when it's like everybody in chat's like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Show something new.
Hyped, went for the show, and it's like, I bet everyone seems going, we know, where's the new stuff? It's like, this is the new stuff. We didn't spoil it.
It's not our fault that, like, was it Amazon? It was like Amazon France or something like that that had revealed it all. A lot of it.
Something.
Yeah. Anyway, well, maybe I guess there might actually be news next week. Well, that's good. Well, thank you, Big D. We'll catch you next week, everybody. Thank you very much for coming on by, and thank you once again, Big D.
No worries, dude. Happy to. So.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.